What the fuck was that?
All right, everybody, welcome to the Spaghetti and Meat Boys podcast, the only podcast that doesn't care that you didn't get your parents to sign your reading log because it knows that you wouldn't lie to it. I'm your host, Houston. Joining me over video conference are the two lovely kimono-clad, well, what's on your shirt, Ian?
Anton Sugar.
Oh, No Country for Old
Javier
Men.
Bardem, yeah.
All right, so joining me is King Kimono, Jarrett McMeans, and as well as I guess flip a coin. I don't know what's his fucking catchphrase from No Country for Old Men.
How much would you bet on a coin toss? Something like that.
Oh yeah. How much would you bet on a coin toss? That's a good icebreaker.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
How much would you bet on a coin toss though, Ian?
I'd bet anything on a coin toss.
Anything?
I'd bet the future of this podcast on a coin toss.
I dig it.
Honestly, yeah. No, but here's the thing though. The future of this podcast already is almost non-existent.
We've got it.
So-
We've got
so
a 50-50 shot of stardom, though. you know?
50-50 odds would be what I would take those odds in. That's
Yeah,
better than
too.
anything in Vegas.
No, we need to get like one of those 55-cent coins, and that way one of the sides is weighted just a little bit
fucking
more,
what?
so it's more likely to
55?
land. Yeah.
Oh, you're fucking joking. My bad. Yeah, all right. Well, that was a weak intro by me, and I kind of buried myself there by asking if he was serious about a 55-cent coin.
It's staying in.
so-
It's all staying in.
Yeah, I'm not doing too hot tonight. But anyway, kicking this one off with the boys. This is round 2, I guess, of our ultimate anime bracket, the weebiest of the anime films. I don't want to say last week's episode because we have not committed to a schedule yet.
No,
But
yeah.
last episode was the classic Grave of the Fireflies versus the 2018 Oscar-nominated film Mirai. Yeah, Mirai. So if you haven't seen or listened to that episode, you should go check it out. There'll be some kind of prompt for
Links
you to
in
go
the
do that.
description.
Yeah, sure. In a description.
What does this get
but-
posted on?
What
What will this get posted on?
video or audio?
Both. I don't know.
Well, audio will get posted on any platform that hosts audio. So, well, I guess not Audible. We're not reading a fucking audiobook, but
yes.
it'll be on probably Apple Podcasts.
Behind a massive paywall, I hope.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, of course.
Okay,
Actually, we're selling out immediately.
It's not selling out if you start sold.
Ian, we were talking about
You know what?
making our top Patreon tier just your raw, unedited audio track, just yours, because of how good it is.
People can pay if you're a high level donor. You can pay to listen to Ian sniff into the microphone for 2.5
Now with
hours.
sniffs.
Or even better, we
Yeah.
take three separate podcast audios of just your tracks, Ian. So it's 3 Ians talking to each other.
That can be good.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a great point, Ian.
But once they've tasted that, they're not going to come back to the regular.
Yeah, that
have
was
to.
the danger. So, well, no, but it's going to be the top tier. So that's what I'm saying. That's our sellout point, right? We're going to make that top tier like 250,000. And if somebody donates to it,
Yeah.
it goes public, man. Like, first person who gets
That's
it,
true.
they get to listen to it, and they can download the file, and then we quit.
Exactly. I was going to say that. We quit.
So that's where we're headed.
Okay.
It's part of the 5-year plan for sure.
yeah, definitely.
20% down payment.
No,
Oh,
it's,
yeah.
it's
No,
10%.
it's lump sum. You pay the whole
No,
thing.
No. It's 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will.
Bonjour.
Sure.
Okay. Really quick.
What are we doing?
We're about to talk about this anime, but I just need to say this.
What are you
I
drinking?
always go. It's from Trim Tab. So sorry to dox where I'm from, but it's from Trim Tab. Every time I see one of these, I'm like, oh my god, that looks delicious. It's an India Pale Ale. Like, I like things that are pale and ale-ish. And then every time I get one, I start to drink it. I remember I fucking hate pale ales. Like this is disgusting. It's my second one, and it's 7.5 ABV. So
Woo.
I remember my first beer.
we're getting toasty.
I'm
All right.
drinking something really good. I'm drinking Budweiser 0% alcohol, and it tastes exactly like you think it would taste.
Like Diet Coke.
Like shit is what it tastes like. It tastes awful.
Zero alcohol?
Zero alcohol.
Not even
Zero alcohol, zero sugar,
0.0%
zero carbs.
No, it's got 50 calories. It's got still a bunch of shit in it, but
I'm terrified of you.
why?
You're not driving.
No, I'm not.
In a little... Who the fuck drinks beer with no alcohol just for the taste of beer without the alcohol? That's a psychopath.
As you can, I'm in my parents' basement right now, and this is what my
I
dad
can
had in the
definitely tell.
fridge. Yeah,
I can tell you're in your parents' basement.
both mentally and physically.
Yeah, I know your parents really like to line the walls with, what is that, fucking God
Yu-Gi-Oh
of
cards.
the underworld? I can't fucking see.
It looks like Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
It's Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Come on,
Oh,
Yeah,
shit,
I don't see Blue Eyes
Okay,
White Dragon.
I'm a
though.
huge fan of.
fucking hell! I have one of those that you can see.
Yeah,
Fucking
I'm a
pretty
huge
fucking
fan
cool.
of Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh,
Not because I've ever
actually-
seen it, but because it's Jarrett's contact picture in my phone, and it has been since like
yeah.
the fucking 10th grade.
It's just a Yu-Gi-Oh card.
No, it's just who's the main character? I always called him
Yugi.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh, Yugi. Well, it's Yugi
Oh, it's
or
actually
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yugi. Oh, because it's like Yugi, but then it's like
just Yugi.
honestly, I'd
Well,
rather
when he
be saying,
turns,
"Oh,
doesn't he
Yugi,"
turn
though.
into Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yes, Yugi, but Yu-Gi-Oh is like the Egyptian
Spirit
spirit
realm.
version.
Yeah,
of him,
yeah.
God, you fucking nerds.
And that's a great
Still.
segue.
So
Anime.
anyway, this anime bracket what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yes. So if you haven't listened or seen round one, go back and do it. It's not as scatters as this one. It's a great one. I honestly really like it. I've been editing it as we speak, and that's what I was doing before we got on here, and it's really good. I'm enjoying it. But yeah, so go watch that if you've already done it, or if you're not gonna fucking watch it. Spoiler: Mirai moved on over Grave of the Fireflies. So now up next we have.
Dude.
Sorry.
So moving on to round two, we have and we're just going down the list if anyone's following along, and you'll see the picture linked
Link in the description.
Yes, thank you, Jared, our resident link in the description guy. But we're doing 2 films today. One very, very popular, 2001 Hayao Miyazaki's quintessential Ghibli film, Spirited Away. So if you haven't seen that one, what rock have you been living under? Not to shame anyone, though. It's okay to not see popular movies. I've never seen fucking Sunset Boulevard, so
I've never
there's
seen-
one.
Yeah.
If you have not seen it, the link is in the description.
Yes, to a completely legal Dropbox.
No,
It's located
not
in an
yet.
offshore
Hang
server.
on. Not yet. I'm gonna say I gotta get some things situated between Dropbox and Drive and shit like that. But yeah, definitely. If you can't access these, we'll have probably a very, 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 very affordable Patreon tier, just for. And I might censor this, just so the feds don't come get me. But
For I got you, Houston. For the for totally legally printed Blue Eyes White Dragon 5th editions.
Yes.
no, we'll probably have a mega folder of all the movies, because movies should be free. But if not, this one is on HBO Max. It's you can find a DVD copy pretty much anywhere. It's pretty popular, also pretty easy to pirate.
Yeah.
So yeah, Spirited Away, and then the next one. This one's gonna be I would say a little bit harder to find, but you can find 2 full versions legally on YouTube with no ads, full versions, subtitled and everything. Pretty solid. It's gonna be 1985. Mamoru Oshii. Oh shit, did I say his name wrong? I know the last name is Oshii. 1985 film Angel's Egg. So that one's a tad bit more obscure. I'm not gonna say crazy obscure because it's still pretty accessible. So if you haven't seen either of those two, we're going to spoil the fuck out of them. They are
Yeah.
both experiences, whether you know every single plot detail or not. I think unless it's something a TV show's been building up to, or like a Shyamalan twist, most movies aren't ruined by spoilers. But I know everyone has their preferences. There are different levels to what people care about. So go watch those now. But first, I think we'll go ahead and give a quick rundown of each film, one first, then the other, like we always do that one time. And
Hey, that's what I'd flip a coin on. Someone have a coin? We can pick which one
No.
goes first.
then
I have a phone I,
just gonna-
can flip.
I was just gonna do.
Do it.
Check your phone. I was just gonna do Spirited Away first, but
Okay, that's
yeah,
fine.
I like this. No, I like.
Okay.
How much would you bet on a coin toss? What's the most you'd bet on?
Heads, tails. All right. Call one or something. I don't know. How does this?
Jarrett, you call it. You call it.
Heads.
No. We have to pick which movie is which. Because if you win, then I mean, huh?
Heads is Spirited Away. Tails is Angel's Egg.
Okay. Heads.
All right, so we're talking about Spirited Away first. So I usually do the plot synopses. Does anyone want to take this one, or I mean, I'm cool
I
to
could do
just
the
do
plot
it.
synopses.
Go for it.
Okay.
Boom.
So, what's her name?
All right.
Okay,
guys,
so
Spirited
I'll
Away
get
is
the plot
Spirited Away
synopsis, okay.
is no. Spirited Away stars a young girl whose name escapes me and escapes everyone. She's with her
Chihiro.
Escapes her
family.
as well.
Chihiro. It is
Escapes
Chihiro.
Chihiro, exactly. See, that was all thematic there. She's with her family, moving to a new town, new school. She's feeling worried about it. On the way there, her and the family run across an abandoned, what they think to be an amusement park. On their way in, the family is sort of overtaken in this magical world of spirits and monsters and stuff. Her parents turn into pigs, which greatly distresses her. But she's taken under the wing of a boy whose name escapes me.
Haku.
Haku. Is Haku from... Is that a Neverending
This
Story name?
motherfucker.
I think there's a lot
Not
of characters
not all
named Haku.
dragons are the same. All
Sorry.
right?
What's his?
Racist.
Falcor. He looks a lot like Falcor. But
What are you
anyway,
Not all dragons look alike, Ian. God.
anyway.
Canceled.
So
You shouldn't have bet on us on that coin toss.
she's the only human in the spirit world. All right? And so she gets taken under the wing by Haku. She has to take a job with Abuela, the queen of the bathhouse.
Yubaba.
Yubaba.
Not a boiler.
Ironically enough, that's what? Spanish for grandma?
I
Ubaba's
thought it was a
twin
guy
sister?
from New York talking about a boiler.
Abuela.
boiler.
And she works in the bathhouse for a while in the spirit world, but she's the only human, so she's sort of an outcast again, like she was. But she overcomes these difficulties of being an outcast.
Whoa, spoilers.
Sorry.
I had
Is
to
that
do
we
it.
not?
You guys did it to me so many times. I had to do
Sorry.
It.
And she overcomes these challenges with the help of friends and family, trumping all the odds, saving her family, and saving the day.
That's not my
Incredible. What a fantastic.
Yeah. I feel like
I
the
mean,
first
no
5 minutes
one's-
got as much description as the last 45 minutes of that description.
Yes. You do definitely have a good concept of time.
Thank you.
You only forgot 3 names.
It's okay. He used 0 for 3.
Yes.
0 for 3. I can name somebody.
Who?
Ooh. Well, there's mom and dad.
Doesn't count. There has to be actual names.
No Face. That's a name.
Okay. That's 1 for 4.
Stink Monster.
He wasn't a
And-
stink monster.
Yeah,
he
I know,
wasn't
but
actually a
it's-
stink.
Well, that's a pseudonym or not? Is that right? No.
No, he was
it's
just
not
misgendered.
Either way, I think it all
It was
counts.
a microaggression. It was not a pseudonym.
Does any... No, it wasn't a microaggression. I think stink monsters exist in this world.
No. Never mind.
Yeah, it's not
I
worth
just
it's
said
not worth explaining to me.
they misrepresented his species. I don't want to say race because it's not it's a spirit. So
The stink
but-
was right on point, though.
all right. Yeah, great synopsis.
All right, sorry.
So yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was solid. That was solid. They all get the
Thank you.
gist. So yeah, despite how Ian made it sound, it's a fantastic movie. Full of wonder, heart, beauty, and character names that are easily remembered. But yeah. Anyway, so just quickly starting us. Have we all seen Spirited Away before this?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah,
I saw it
cool.
as a young
Okay.
child.
You saw it as a young child. Okay,
Yes,
so I
I had,
actually
like-
was going to ask about that.
Yeah. It was one of
like-
those movies that I saw, and then it was sort of like a fever dream, and you'd have like visions of it and be like, what was that? That was
Yeah.
fucking crazy. And then you see it again, you're like, oh, that's what all that shit was. That
So how
calmed
long
me.
ago did you
do-
watch it?
I was...
Oh yeah,
I
sorry.
don't-
Go ahead, Jarrett.
I'm sorry, Ian. You and I watched it whilst living together
Yes.
as well. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. It was okay.
Yeah, I've seen it multiple times since I was a child. This wasn't the first time since I was a child.
Yeah.
But
But so how long ago? When was your first time watching this film?
I don't know. I'm reckoning maybe like 10 to 13. I'm not really sure. I saw it at my cousin's house. I remember that because he was like, "This is a cool movie." I was like, okay. And
Is your cousin? He's your age or older?
yeah, he was like a year older than me.
Okay.
Oh, this isn't the cousin. He's a Florida person.
Yeah. I
But-
assumed you had more than one cousin. I wasn't.
Yes. I have a few cousins.
I knew if it was your cousin that I know, you probably would have used his name.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think I enjoyed it a lot then, and I wanted to see it again, but I didn't know what it was. I just, because I guess I was so young that like I didn't even ask, and so I was like, "What was that shit?" And so that's one. It's got a lot of nostalgia, and it's also just very good on its own. When was the first time that you guys saw it?
So I was going to ask Jarrett the same thing. So what about you, Jarrett? Because I know you had seen this before I had ever seen it.
I've seen Spirited Away probably like 10 times. I also, similar to Ian, I first watched it. It was aired one night as part of the Toonami block on Cartoon
Ooh.
Network. I was probably like 8 or something,
Nice.
8 or 9, something like that. And I also was like, "What the hell was that? That was so cool."
Yeah.
And then some point down the road, I saw it again on TV, and I was like, "Oh, Spirited Away. Oh, Ghibli. What's that?" And so Spirited Away was sort of the gateway to all other Ghibli movies that I've seen. And even on top of just holding that nostalgia, kind of like how you mentioned, Ian, it is extremely nostalgic for me, and I do love the movie. But I think
Yeah.
even removing that nostalgia from it, it is, to me at least, one of, if not the best Ghibli movie I have seen, I would say.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I even got a
Well,
jacket
that ruins
from
the
Hot
other
Topic.
fucking ones. Dude, I remember that fucking jacket.
Yeah, it was
that
the
zip,
scene.
that zip-up hoodie.
Yep. It's after her and
seen
No
that.
Face get off the train, and they're standing there by the
At the
lamppost.
platform.
Not
Yeah.
the hopping one, but before they meet the
Yeah.
hopping lamppost.
Don't you have like a frame from the film? Like, don't you have like an actual like film frame from it?
I did. It
Preserved
might be
somewhere?
on my shelf somewhere. I've not seen that thing in a long time, but yes,
Yeah,
I
that's
remember
cool as fuck.
getting.
Yeah. So yeah,
getting
you
one, yeah.
definitely are a Spirited Away merch collector. So for sure.
Yes, I
But
very
yeah,
much
so-
enjoy the movie.
And I like how you mentioned that it was your entry point into Ghibli because you and every other white girl that wants to pretend that they have culture because they've seen one movie with subtitles. But that is really a good thing about Spirited Away. It's just so universal because it was what brought, I guess, anime films like to the West. And I wouldn't say it's the first one. I think Akira did a pretty good job in like the late 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Exposing like Western audiences to be like, oh shit, this isn't just for kids.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't gain like mad popularity. Like Disney didn't double down like real
Yeah.
fucking hard on
Mm-hmm.
their partnership with Ghibli until Spirited Away won that Oscar in 2001, and not just because of the Oscar, but there was like plenty other it did really, really well in the States.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Was that best
I
foreign film or best animated feature?
best animated
Animated
feature.
feature.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it
Hey,
was animated
editing
feature.
Houston in the future, if it's wrong, just throw. Oh shit. Okay, never mind.
Just
Jarrett
dub
confirmed
that.
it.
Dub
Don't
that.
worry, you don't have to look it up anymore. Yeah, no, you look good. Yeah, for sure, man. All right, take it easy. Yeah. But anyway, so I did not have an introduction early on like you guys did. So I had been told, all the time, you gotta fucking watch this. You gotta watch this. You gotta watch this. And I was not, as you can tell by all of my weeb jokes directed at Jarrett, I was not really big into anime or, anything like that growing up. And I actually stumbled into the movie like accidentally. And Jarrett, I think you'll remember this. Do you remember when we were in Mr. Casey's theater class? I don't remember. I think we were juniors in high school. Maybe it was sophomore. He was doing a unit on film. It was like a 9 weeks, or it was like a 2 or 3 week unit on like actual like just film in general.
Yeah.
Okay. So we were doing a section on animation, and each class got to pick a film to watch, like an animated film out of his collection, because he went to like movie gallery and Buster and shit. Like
his office
right before they closed.
He had a massive shelf of movies.
Apparently his garage was just lined with shelves from floor to ceiling all the way around, just filled with movies. Like, that's a dream. But yeah, he said he had gone to like movie gallery or something, like right when it shut down, and bought, when they were like we're getting rid of our entire stock, bought everything for like $0.25 each.
Nice.
But yeah, that's the dream. But my class picked, obviously, The Brave Little Toaster, because
It's a good movie too.
I fucking love that movie for sure. But I was just one day being emo as hell in high school, just not wanting to talk to people, and I'm so sad. I mean, not to diminish anyone who is dealing with depression or anything. I'm just making fun of myself. But yeah, I was kind of
diminish away.
Like, yeah, I just kind of wanted to be alone, and I ended up like going into during lunch, or my lunch class, into the auditorium or theater, because I figured his class would be in their room, but I had just forgotten. Turns out that all his class were watching movies, and they had just started Spirited Away, and so I just sat for the whole lunch class and I watched some of Spirited Away because class was not long enough for a 2.5 hour movie. Or it's like an hour and a half, but
that's the fatal flaw.
Yeah.
That's why you do block schedule, man.
Yep. Or lab.
We definitely did not do block scheduling or lab. And this was before we did, what was that shit called? Pack 60?
Pack 60, yeah.
Where they gave us like
that shit was
for
whack,
lunch,
dude.
and we
would just go to
was not.
Zaxby's every time.
We called it Zax 60 because we would just fucking skip and go to Zaxby's. And I know for anyone over the age of, like 20 listening to this, or over the age of like 21, 22, it's like, what the fuck, you skip or going out to eat it? We did that all the time in high school. Like, no, that shit doesn't fly anymore.
No.
So like they locked the doors. They got cameras in the fucking parking lots at our school. Like, I'm talking 4K, man. But me and Jarrett were just real sneaky about it. No one else was as smart as us when it came to being lazy.
What changed? Oh, well, the lazy part to them.
So you watched it in the auditorium.
This fucking guy. So I watched it in the auditorium, and it wasn't until Ian, bro, you got.
I don't know what it is.
Hold your mic steady. Put it in the stand. It don't matter, but you're like.
I have to fucking cough. I can't help it.
No, it wasn't the cough. It's everything before and after.
Okay. All right, I'm putting it in here, and I won't touch it again.
The cough was nice. Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry.
It's gonna be loud for a second.
Boys, I'm not trying to be mean to Ian or nothing. I have to edit these. It just makes life hard on me. Like,
maybe I'll just fuck with it more.
Go ahead, fucking see. Just try.
It won't be hard.
I don't come through that screen to. I was gonna rattle off your address, but I don't know it.
Thank God.
But yeah, so that was my introduction to the film, and then I ended up watching it. I think. Did I watch it with you, Jarrett, like after that for the first time? I know we went to Second and Charles, and I bought a copy of it with you.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But from then on, I was like, damn. Like, so I had the same type of experience. So not watching it as young, but as you did, Jared, to where I was like, I watched that movie and I was like, shit, I might have to give Studio Ghibli and therefore anime films a try. And now I mean, look at me now. Like, I'm married to a waifu body pillow. It's
Bro,
fantastic life.
That's a good point. She was your life partner, or she was just your partner last podcast.
Oh yeah.
That's true.
I got married in the time off. Also, Jarrett turned 22 in the time off.
That's true. I did.
Also, Ian continued his boring ass life of drinking Budweiser Zeros in between. So, we've all had, major life steps. So I guess we all kind of have a general consensus on Spirited Away, but we can give a couple of little points about it. If anyone wants to talk about what they've seen, because we've all seen it. Jarrett, you said you've seen it like 10 times. I've seen it like 10 times. I watched it twice in preparation for this.
Wow.
Ian, you've seen it a good amount of time, right?
Yeah, I probably haven't seen it 10, probably like 6 or something, but yeah.
As those are rookie numbers.
I know, I got to put those up. I don't watch movies that much.
Why
kind of
the
don't
fuck
like
are you on
movies.
this? No, I'm just kidding. What do you bring to the table?
Not a lot, but here we are.
But
Sniffles. I bring Sniffles to the table.
what I'm trying to get at.
I mean, this would just be a
um,
podcast about high school. You guys your experiences in high school if I wasn't here.
Yeah, it probably
that.
would be. It's because what are you fucking reading, man?
His
my
notes.
Mormon?
My notes.
You took them in a little journal? That's cute.
Yeah. A
Cute.
page just got ripped out. It was a big bummer. So Houston, I know you and I talked about Spirited Away.
Mm-hmm.
I think in the past couple months or so, and sort of
On the phone when you had brought up the idea to do a general podcast, and I was like,
Yes,
"Hey,
this
I
is
just watched Spirited
before-
Away."
Yeah. This is before knowing that we were going to talk about Spirited Away.
Yes,
And I
so
think
don't feel
after
excluded, Ian.
yeah.
I still feel excluded.
It's
So
okay, we were
after
trying to
watching
include
it-
you.
Oh, sorry. So what Houston and I were discussing was, one, just we both really dislike the over analysis that seems to plague Spirited Away, and people talking about how it's about child prostitution and it's a commentary. I don't mean to speak for you, Houston, but I definitely do not think it's that deep.
No, you're on it.
I
don't.
and I think it's very much. And
I think it's deeper than you, but not in that way at all. No, we talked about it.
Yeah.
Like my interpretation, you're like, yeah, I don't really fucking see that. So
Well, no. I think what I ended up saying. Sorry, I think I viewed mine as sort of basically a more specific version of your general interpretation. I think what I remember it. But basically that the movie is generally just about Chihiro, almost growing up, facing the various things that she's going to have to deal with in life, dealing with change, adapting to a new environment, stuff like that. And I think I was going to say, after watching it yesterday again, I think I retract my former statement, and I can elaborate on it, Ian, if you would like to hear what I originally thought back when we spoke on the phone. But
yeah, go for it.
Basically, I was saying the key difference was, I think it was our interpretation of No Face. I looked at No Face as sort of not a foil, but sort of like how Chihiro is basically throughout the whole movie. Chihiro is almost being put through trial through these various different instances of like greed, of being humble, of being honest and nice, and she's always passing with flying colors, and she's growing into, an adult, or not an adult, but she's growing into knowing herself. And I took No Face as sort of almost like a version of Chihiro that failed these trials and succumbed to the various pressures of human life, basically. And they were sort of meant to again, not I can't think of a better word than foil, but foil each other in a way. I
Mm.
don't think that as much
Or
anymore.
juxtapose.
Yeah, juxtapose. There you go.
Okay.
But I think I'd agree with you more, Houston, in that he's sort
Yeah.
of just a physical representation of those various flaws of humanity, and he kind of goes
Yeah.
with the rest, where he's sort of just testing Chihiro in that way.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think also to fill Ian in a little bit, because I know exactly the conversation that you're talking about, and also to fill anyone who once again the three people who might be listening, you guys are the best. Keep it up. But
We're down to
anyway,
2 now.
yeah,
Links
is
in the description.
Yeah, no, we were talking about it, and I was talking that because we were frustrated with that interpretation, which I see how people come to it about child trafficking. I mean, she is working in a bathhouse. She has to give away her name. There's a lot of things that can be construed that way. But first, I want to say that a big thing is Miyazaki, from what I know, from what I've heard, writes movies about his characters, and that's pretty vague, but he starts with, I'm going to write a movie for this age range, is kind of the way it is. So he's like, I want to write a movie for 10-year-old girls, and I think the one for Spirited Away had come, if I remember correctly, he was
I think it
visiting
was a
some friends.
Yeah, it was like his
Yeah.
friend's daughter. was
Yeah, I
like,
heard about
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And the thing, the bathhouse, he's been on record saying that when he was a kid, there was a bathhouse, near his town, and he had always looked at it as like a very, very, because he'd never been inside, very magical place. He looked at it with wonder. Kind of, you see that scene of Chihiro at the beginning, looking up at the towering bathhouse, kind of like as a kid, and then also the whole thing about the Kahaku River at the end, and the river spirit with all the sludge in it. He remembers he and his family, I think it was helping cleaning the river at one point. But yeah, so a lot of these elements that people will point to, and a lot of them were inspired by his childhood, but he always makes his movies, or don't want to say always, but very often makes his movies about those characters in those types of age ranges, or in those types of headspaces. So I think the movie is just straight up about Chihiro,
Yeah.
like you were saying, and I think everything else surrounding it, and going to what Jarrett was saying, obviously you do show I won't want to say the flaws of humanity, but the flaws of adulthood in a capitalist or a greedy society, in a way. I know those can be kind of synonymous sometimes, but but that's what No Face is. Like, Chihiro doesn't give a shit about No Face, in my opinion. And that's the only reason I disagreed that they weren't like foils for each other, or juxtaposed. And I guess they can still be juxtaposed without caring. But No Face had an obsession with Chihiro, I think, because Chihiro was just satisfied with not being, he was giving out gold to people.
Yeah.
He was getting food in return. She was the only one who was like, yeah, no thanks.
I think
And I know
the juxtaposition between her and all the other, all the other employees is as important as her differences between her and No Face, or more.
Yes. And you can see, like, Chihiro does not invite No Face to come with her or anything. She's just like, I think being in the bathhouse makes him crazy, but it's almost more of an obligation, like, oh shit, I let him in. Like, I gotta. And she's just like, yeah, come this way.
You don't know.
And so she goes to get on the train, and she gives her ticket, and I had written this one down. The hubris of me to only take one note or two notes for Spirited Away, because like, I can fucking remember enough of this. So I might flub it hard this time, but I've seen it enough. I think I'll be
Yeah, I reckon.
But she goes to give those tickets that the Boiler Man gave her, and then like No Face like comes up behind her like, and she's like, oh shit, you want to come too? All right, I guess he's coming with us, kind of thing.
To come too, please?
And I don't want to go too far into this, because I did recently watch a CJ the X video talking about how No Face is an incel. And so though I did have a lot of the same interpretations that he did, I don't want to start rattling off because mine will blend with the things that I heard
Yeah.
from his video. So I don't want to do that. I'm going to want to stay away from that as well. And I don't know this guy but at all, but I'm just going to plug his video anyway. Just go
Links
on
in the
YouTube and look up.
description.
Yeah, just I might put a link or just look up No Faces in Itself. It's a funny ass video. I love how manic that dude is and his media analysis of like a lot of children's media, but also it makes a lot of good points about the differences between Chihiro and No Face and what Chihiro prioritizes like in relation to No Face and how like she just doesn't give a shit. Everyone's like, "Come on, Chihiro, make money." Like this dude's giving out gold, and she's like, "Okay." And then just walks away because she wants to go hang out with her emo boyfriend, Haku.
Haku.
Matata.
But yes, so Jared, I do think all that to say is like the conversation that we had earlier kind of still stands. But
Ian, your thoughts?
Did you
Yeah,
guys?
whoa. Mhm.
Did you
Ian, what were you
guys?
saying?
Did you guys feel? I think with a lot of, I haven't seen, there are some Ghibli movies I've seen more than once that I don't remember. But I feel like with a lot of Ghibli movies, a lot of times they become, I wouldn't say aimless, but they sort of like, oh, we're here, now we're going this way, now we're going this way. And while I enjoyed the whole thing, I sort of forgot, like, not forgot, but it's really noticeable how like you'll just be somewhere and then you're just not there, and then you just come back, and it's like, why did we? It seems like it's things just.
I especially somewhat agree with Miyazaki movies. I can't think of a single Miyazaki movie where at some point, it's usually in the latter half of the movie, where I'm like, I can't tell if he wanted this scene to be a lot longer and more fleshed out, or he's just running out of ideas and we're kind of rushing through this. Spirited Away is one of,
like,
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
like I was just gonna say like they leave the bathhouse to go save Haku, and then it's like, oh, you didn't need to leave. You didn't need to leave to save Haku. It feels like a little like I'm having fun, but like I don't know. We're doing something that doesn't really have that much purpose. Like you're just going somewhere to just be there for a second and then come back, which is fun.
Yeah,
but
I think she was still learning though. I think the whole
she was with
Zeniba was a pretty solid.
It was nice. It was, yeah.
Interaction.
Why didn't she save him though?
She didn't have to say it. Well,
I know, but why didn't
she
he make it where she had to?
No. Oh shit.
Okay.
You good?
Is this part 2?
What happened? Okay, we didn't lose too much though, right?
I think it sounded like we just lost like a second.
Yeah. Actually, we came up with the meaning of life in like 2 seconds. Like, I hope that's still in there.
Does anyone remember what it was? Yeah.
It might.
I read off my winning lottery ticket.
It might be fine in the Zoom recording. Again, that usually only happens if my Wi-Fi crashes, but it didn't, so I'm not sure.
Shit happens. It's all good, man.
Yeah. Sorry, continue.
If we don't have video for this one, we'll just it'll be fine.
Now?
I'll just type text to we're recording now. Let's look up to the left. But yeah, I think the interaction was neat. But she did save Haku. In multiple ways.
Because what she learned.
She was like, how? She was like, one. No. First off, when she went to Zeniba, after he was like bleeding inside, she gave him the little thing or whatever.
Yeah.
The river spirit gave, and
Now
then
swallow.
the woman.
Yeah, Jin sounds good.
Sen.
Yeah. What? No. That's Chihiro's name, but the woman.
Chihiro's fake name.
The
bathhouse.
I don't remember.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yes.
Anyway, but she's like, what is this? And the boiler man's like,
3.
But
Welcome
she's also
back,
like-
everybody.
She's also like, hey, yo, Haku, like, your name is Riverboy McGee. So where the fuck he go? Oh, he just turned his video
I'm
off.
still here. I'm seeing if that'll help the bandwidth.
Yeah.
Real ramshackle operation we got going here.
I'm sorry. Lydia's home. Hey. But
Hey, Lydia.
Hey, Lydia.
They all say hey. But yeah, that's my anime body pillow waifu right there.
Yeah.
But I would always say, like, oh, these movies meander a little, or I'd say, like, the information seems like they always just cut to action to me. So it's and using Spirited Away as an example, I would be like, oh yeah, how all of a sudden she just is like, oh yeah, your name is this river thing, and also, you know, just quick information like that. Oh yeah, and this spirit gave me this thing, and I think it'll work.
I noticed a lot more seating, and little things like they're going through a train station, going into a patch, a field, and then they get to the bathhouse. When they go to Zeniva's house, they take a train to a green, to the that kind of thing. And I don't think it's meandering, but I still, to this day, after 10 viewings, I still think once they get to Zeniva's house, I still think Miyazaki wanted to expand more upon that. I still don't understand why she wants Chihiro to call her Gran.
Yeah, that is sort of like, call me Gran, by the way.
Yeah, the whole scene is super rushed, and I don't.
So that might be a translation thing. I don't know, and we'll do that. I'll always default on, if I can't interpret something, translation issue.
I'm not defaulting on that one. There's got to be a Japanese word for grandmother.
Yeah,
that's the only thing it can be.
She never got any sort of appraisal and or affection from her parents, and so I think I don't know. You know what? I'm just trying too hard right here. I'm trying to fill in those gaps right there.
Again, I don't.
It's a crap movie, Houston. Just accept it.
No. Yeah, again, I don't think it's meandering, but I do think Miyazaki has too many ideas that he tries to wrap together a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
So I agree with you, Jarrett, though. I noticed a lot more seating in these past 2 times that I've watched it. And I went back and the other day, Lydia and I watched The Wind Rises, not for bracket purposes, which it is on our bracket, but just because, like, I fucking love that movie.
Aside.
Spoiler. Man, shut the fuck. This man thinks it's not that good because it's not as magical as the rest of them.
That's
Trash opinion. I think it's
more
magical because it's about engineering.
It's war propaganda.
Engineering is
It is not war propaganda. Opposite. Okay. You're gonna make me mad. But that one as well. That movie does meander a bit as well, or so I thought, or it jumps, or there are just bits of information that just kind of come out of nowhere, like, oh shit. And also, it's almost like they tack something on to the end. But then when I rewatched it again, I was like, yeah, you know what? I see a lot more development than I did the first time, or the first couple of times, because I've seen that movie a good bit. So I do kind of see what you're saying, Ian. Those are those elements there. It has taken me multiple watches to find some of the things that and I don't know if that's I'm looking for them too much, or I was too dumb to see them in the first place, or that I'm really desperately want it to be. Wow, thanks. I really desperately want it to be cohesive, that I'm making shit up. Like, it gives me A and B, and I'm traversing for the movie rather than the movie traversing for me. But I do see what you're saying. I just don't think it's that big of a deal, and I can't really articulate why, other than the fact that, yeah, I used to kind of feel more that way, but the more I watch it, like, the more I kind of understand it.
Yeah.
So
that
was about it.
There are much worse examples, much worse examples.
Oh, definitely.
Of his Howl's Moving Castle bites, dude.
That's the one I've seen multiple times and don't remember anything.
Dude, that
we
whole
are
movie.
2 for 2 on episodes where Jarrett decides to bring up Howl's Moving Castle unprovoked.
You want to talk about? Okay, just imagine like the scene where the grandma or Zeniva's like, "Call me Gran," and then she like has this infatuation for No Face for some reason. Like, he's a helper, I guess. But just imagine
I think that was so fucking weird.
But imagine that, and that's the whole movie, where it's just weird shit that does not tie together, and it's just kind of bad. That's Howl's Moving Castle. It's not low tier Miyazaki. It is bottom tier Miyazaki. But
I think bottom tier Miyazaki is the way that he treats his son, but Howl's Moving Castle can be a closer.
That video is so fucking funny. Oh my god.
I was gonna say it's funny, but
Ian, there's a video. Look up Hayao Miyazaki. His son. There's a video. So his son like literally made a film, and like had like its first screening, and his dad got like box seats to see it, and he fucking walked out and just like was smoking a cig in the bottom room, and they were like, "Hey man, what's going on?" He's like, "It sucks. I hate it," and they just fucking left.
yeah,
Wow.
I will
See,
say,
that sounds like a
think-
character that would be in a Hayao Miyazaki film
Right.
as a villain.
I do think that Goro, I think it's Goro Miyazaki is his name.
I think you're thinking of Mortal Kombat.
I'm not gonna leave. I just wanted to go give a dick shot to the camis. But
Thanks.
anyway, Goro Miyazaki, I think he's felt a lot of pressure to be what his father was, and I don't really think he wants to, but I don't think he really knows what he wants to do. But yes, his movies fucking suck.
Really?
Tales from Earthsea, Earwig and the Witch.
Tales from Earthsea.
Yeah, it sucks.
Maybe I'm thinking of it.
He did From Up on Poppy Hill too, right?
I don't know.
I think he did From Up on Poppy Hill. It's like that one was like passable. If he didn't do it, I'm gonna slander whoever the fuck did. It was like all right. But
I have a note here that says No Face is the government making fake money to control the working man. I think I wrote it as a meme, but I don't remember.
I mean, yeah, he did like they are everyone else but Chihiro is entirely motivated by money, and there is a lot of like tinges of like capitalism fucking blows in this movie. But yeah, sorry, what were you just went like?
So I have a note. So one,
You just got the form.
I've watched the dub probably 8 of the 10 times, and then I watched the sub one time a long time ago, and I didn't remember it being bad. So I started it in sub yesterday, and like I don't know, man. I'm usually a guy who prefers sub over dub. Very rarely does the dub blow me away. But like the sub was not doing it for me.
Did we all separately
god-awful.
watch the dub just like of our own volition? I did too,
Dude,
because I was completely prepared to do sub, and I was watching it and I was like, oh, this is in English. Sorry, I forgot to turn on the sub, and I turned on the sub and watched that for like 3 minutes. I was like, no, I'm switching it back.
Well, like Chihiro's voice is, I don't know, she seems a little older, or her voice sounds a little older.
Yeah.
I hated Haku's voice.
Haku's voice, that's what
Like,
did it for me.
it was awful. I don't know. Like he lost like the sort of he almost sounded like he was too boyish. Like what I like about the English dub is he's sort of like he's got like little boyish tendencies, but he's also
serious though.
He's
Well, you kind of
serious.
want him.
He's very serious. And yeah, it was almost kind of goofy. I hated here's something I noticed that I thought was funny. So you would think when they do a dub that they dub every voice, period, and usually they'll dub like the sounds of stuff.
No.
What's funny is Yubaba's henchmen, the 3 heads that go ooey, ooey, ooey. They sounded exactly the same. They did not dub the heads.
That's good.
I thought that was hilarious.
They do have.
You gotta
I know
keep that.
they contract a lot of like additional voice actors work on all of the same. I could be wrong about that, but I think the additional voice cast who do like a lot of the unnamed characters or sound effects and shit like that, or some of them can do noises for both sub and dub or dialogue for both sub and dub. But those people are kind of the same across the board. So I think sometimes the additional voice cast is just like the same for the sub and the dub. Whether
that was
re-record it or they just leave it the same.
That was definitely a lot more common back in the day. Like if you watch like a lot of older like Funimation shows, for instance.
Yeah.
So like I'm gonna use an example. So like the One Piece dub. Just hold on. The One Piece dub. The character who the lady who voices Luffy, the guy who voices Zoro, guy who voices Usopp, the guy who voices Sanji, they're all like all the main characters in DBZ as well, and probably a bunch of other shows.
It's like the voice of Timmy Turner does every fucking like Nickelodeon
Tara
show
Strong,
or some
yeah.
shit. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I think as voice acting has progressed, in the past 20 years, it's a lot less common to hear constant voices over multiple properties.
Yeah. No, I know you had said, Ian, like, you're like, did we all separately watch the dub? You're going to catch me watching the dub for almost every Ghibli film post 2001. Like, I'm probably
I can't think of any other examples to argue.
I can't fucking pass them up. Like, man, dude, we're going to watch The Tale of Princess Kaguya, dude. You bait me with James Caan's fucking voice. I'm watching that shit. Like, I'm sorry.
I can't think of who that is.
Thief.
He directed Avatar, Titanic.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then The Wind Rises, you got like Joseph Gordon-Levitt, John Krasinski, Emily Blunt, like with fantastic ass voice casts, like for some of these like post Spirited Away ones, because Spirited Away was so popular that Disney was like, oh shit, we can make money off of this. I know we partner with them, but we've been like lazy as shit. So like now let's like do everything we can to milk like money and like a higher like, royalty percentage from these.
Higher lactose, yeah.
All right. So that's a great note. Speaking of milk, actually,
speaking of milk, speaking of babies,
Angel's Egg. So we'll end our discourse on Spirited Away for now, so we can go ahead and get into the Angel's Egg really quickly.
The real
film.
Then
the real film, yeah. And then we'll take a break and we'll come back and kind of compare the two. So we'll probably make this one a little bit quicker than Spirited Away. But yeah, so I'll go ahead and do the synopsis. So Angel's Egg is pretty basic ass synopsis.
Yeah, because it's a pretty cut and dry movie.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't call it a cut and dry movie. I'd call it a cut and dry plot, because there's like it's 10% plot, 20% skill, 15%.
Bonjour.
Laugh at my jokes. I'm gonna keep making them.
Do you know House Moving Castle is bad?
No. I know I said we had to move to Angel's Egg. But for anyone who is seeing the first episode before this one, they'll know. But Jared makes the Naruto 3 joke like 12.
Oh yeah, I haven't made that yet. Damn.
Dude, he brings up Naruto 3 like a billion times. It's so good.
That's the Crescent Moon Kingdom, right?
Or something like that.
Something like that.
I haven't seen anyone other than that. I wasn't sure if that was 3.
I'm surprised
That's a legendary
fucking
film.
seen it.
Yeah, it has Crescent in the title, but I don't know.
Crescent Moon Guardians, or The Rise of Crescent Moon, something like that.
Something.
But anyway, so Angel's Egg.
Legendary.
The plot is in this near future, futuristic society, wasteland. There's a little girl who has an egg. That's it. No, I'm just kidding. But she travels across the wasteland collecting jars of water, and she believes that the egg will hatch and turn into a bird, and she's kind of amnesiac. She has memory loss. She doesn't remember her life, but she just knows that her task is to take care of this egg. And along her journeys into the wasteland, she comes across this sexy boy who also doesn't remember his life before this, but kind of maybe against her will, maybe not, tags along with her as they inquire about what the egg is and what it will be, as he recounts everything that he can possibly remember. So I just said it was a cut and dry plot, and I made it sound dumb as fuck and complicated.
I was being
really
sarcastic.
just a girl who collects water and has an egg, and nobody can remember anything.
Yo, you're forgetting the fish, dude.
Fish,
I mean, they're not.
fisherman.
I wouldn't say they're part of the plot. I would say they're part of the story. They're not part of the plot.
Relevant, dude.
Plot and story are different. Yeah. Two different things, man.
They're relevant to both.
No, they're not.
So, I want to get, because this was everyone's first time watching Angel's Egg, correct?
Yes.
So let's go around the room. Let's go around the Zoom.
Ooh.
and get some initial reactions. How about that? So, who wants to start us off?
Go ahead, Ian.
Okay. We all watched this on YouTube, right?
Yup.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
480p.
I'm not paying $700 for the DVD
Is it really?
on eBay. Yes.
It was hand drawn, which I think you could really tell. But I enjoyed the style, and I enjoyed the sights. It was pretty. It was pretty, but not pretty. If that makes sense.
Yes.
Macabre.
I thought macabre. It was very macabre.
Macabre.
I thought the ideas
Gothic.
were plentiful and juicy. And I think there was a lot to think about, but it was a little too much to chew. Maybe I guess would be my coming out of it. It's just like it was a lot of chewing on what was happening, and then not a lot of like substance at the end, which is fine. But I think you got to know that going into it.
So you're telling me the steak was cooked rare AF?
Yes, it was very rare. It was very rare, but it was good. It was high quality meat, but it was very rare. You know what I mean? Yeah, they didn't.
Prime
not a lot.
rib,
It was sort of
bloody AF.
sliced and then put on the table. And so
The cow was still mooing as I was eating it.
yeah, it wasn't
Like Jordan Peterson's daughter. You can continue, Ian.
Yeah, sorry, keep going.
And I thought the ending was super cool. But yeah, I guess it was just something. It was something I enjoyed, but not something that stuck with me. I don't know if I need to see it again or if I'm good with what I got.
I really thought it was going to be the opposite, like something that sticks with you, but not something you enjoyed, right? Because it's not a particularly fun one.
No, I think I got to sort of my not wit's end, but like I sort of, from what I took from it, it was like I think I could. There wasn't enough where I was like, "Ooh, this is a way." Maybe he was thinking this. It felt to me like it's definitely going to be whatever you. There's not something there. Whatever anything you get from it is kind of going to be up in your noggin. And so
I mean-
once I got to that point, it was like, okay, then I can think whatever I want to think.
So I
And,
usually think like shit like that's kind of a cop out when people are like art can mean whatever you want it to, and like to an extent that's true, but also like especially in storytelling sometimes there are like implicit devices like meant to convey a piece of information, or and you can take certain things can be left ambiguous, but it's like, hey, this represents this, and like how you see it
yeah.
beyond. But even apparently, and it's really hard to find a lot of discussion on this movie because apparently the director Oshii, which if you don't know anything about him, because I know it's not always an auteur space in like 1980s animation, but he ended up directing Ghost in the Shell later on. Like that was his big one.
Can't do
he had a lot of
faces. Faces. His faces are weird. This one too.
What?
Faces. The faces
You
look
don't
weird.
remember that?
This
He
was
said-
one of the first like OVAs, my guy. Like you can't credit. Also, Ghost in the Shell had a tiny ass budget, and
Still, I mean, I'm not.
Ghost in the Shell's faces were much better than anything that predated it, dude. Fucking the faces in Akira.
all
can
I'm
go,
saying is that they just looked a little like
okay,
Like corpses.
like what?
Like corpses.
Corpses, kind of corpses, but like I don't know, with like a mirage effect over them, where it's like
What's
their eyes are
what's
just
the
kinda-
dude? What's the Hunchback of Notre Dame's name?
Quasimodo.
Quasimodo.
They kind of
yeah,
look
they were Quasimodo-ish. Yeah,
Quasimodo-esque.
Oh,
they have little
damn.
noses, and I don't know.
Oh shit. No, I don't necessarily agree, but
Not,
that's
it's not.
fine.
It's not like you take it for what it is. I'm taking
no,
yeah.
it's okay to be stupid. Like no hate on you, Ian.
That's what
but,
I was. That's what I kept thinking. I was like, "This is fucking no. It's okay to be stupid. It's okay."
Damn. But yeah, no. He Ghost in the Shell is his big one, but he was kind of blacklisted for like a couple of years after this movie. Like it was not well received.
I could see
For
that.
a while. But even he has been like, yeah, at this point in his career, like now that he's gotten, big for other things, like revisiting it, he's just like, yeah, I don't even know what it means. He made it at a time, I guess, and Jared, I'll get your reaction in a minute, but I guess I just want to continue this thought. He made it at a time, and you can see this religious symbolism, which we'll go into a lot more after the break, but he made it at a time where he was considering, I think, either being a filmmaker. Well, he had started in like 83 or 84. Either being a filmmaker or going into seminary. Because he was studying, oddly enough, to like Christian theology, and he wanted to be like a Christian theologian or a pastor or whatever, or evangelical. And then he ended up having like a loss of faith. And like he broke away from, you read that shit? Yeah.
Yes, and
Me
too.
Because I
So
read it afterwards. Yeah.
So he broke away from religion, and then I know this wasn't his first film to use this kind of imagery, but it's his first work, I guess. But it's the first one I've seen that uses that kind of imagery and shit. So I know like probably what he was doing at the time was based more on feelings instead of like structure and story. And so like now looking back with a different lens, he's just like, yeah, I don't see this the same way that I did, so I have no idea. And I don't think he was like, oh, fuck, I have no idea what it's about. I think he's kind of in the vein of one of those directors, like, oh, you can take whatever you want out of it. But I think he's even like, it's not the same to me as it was at the time and shit. But yeah. So Jarrett, what was your initial thoughts?
I'm excited to hear these thoughts.
I'm sort of the opposite of you, Ian, where I
Okay.
really liked the ideas.
Yeah, I like the ideas.
Sorry, hang on. Sorry. I felt that there was more after the chewing. There was more, there was satiation.
Okay.
However,
vocabulary.
Ooh,
dude,
yeah.
I'm on it, dude. Like Naruto 3, man. I'm on it.
Dude, like the hotel you're dropping satiated?
Yeah. When I first watched it, for lack of a better word, I found it grueling. Because I was on that YouTube 480p quality. It's a very it was watching this movie.
Did y'all watch it in 480?
Yeah, man.
I didn't notice
above.
it being 480.
Yeah, I had that bitch in 720.
My shit. I guess I watched the wrong one. It didn't go up to.
There was like
720.
4 or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw 2, but
Okay. But yeah, watching it, I just got tired. My head was hurting. I was like, I was struggling to make it through. And then I finished it, and I was like, okay, that ending was pretty wild. What am I thinking? And then I read up about what I could find about the dude at this time, with his loss of faith and all that, and I revisited a couple scenes, and I was like, I think I formulated a because obviously, like you said, Houston, it's more focused on feeling rather than a straightforward plot and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I think I sort of formed an idea of what happened, what it's saying, and what I think was intended to be taken from it.
Yeah. But did you like it?
It's in a weird, uncanny valley.
That's a no.
I liked the idea of it, and I liked the things that were presented. I did not like the way it was presented, and I did not enjoy watching it. No.
But yeah, I guess really quickly, I'll give my initial thoughts for Angel's Egg, and then we'll take a break and we'll come back and compare them. But I was this kind of the same way as you, Jarrett, and kind of the same way as you, Ian, but also different. I even say that makes no sense.
Great thing. All right,
I agree with Jarrett to where there's more to chew on afterwards. Like I had said to you earlier, I think like it was not an enjoyable watch through. but it's one that I gleamed a lot off of. Like, it stuck with me. It's something like, I think like David Lynch's like Eraserhead or something. You know, like I'm not gonna pop that shit on. Like, make some popcorn and be like, dude, yes, movie night with the hose. But I appreciate what it did for cinema, and so Angel's Egg was kind of like that. I was watching it, and I wouldn't go grueling like you said, Jarrett, but I was like, damn, this one's a sit through. You know, like this.
Yeah.
This one requires me to like really try.
It was
for
like
a little bit.
what was it? Hour 30? Hour 20?
Shorter than that. Yeah,
It was like
Yeah.
hour 10, dude. It was
15.
70-minute movie.
Yes, it wasn't. Yeah.
It was
That's not
71,
too bad, all
71
things
minutes.
considered.
Longest hour and 10 of
Nah.
my life, dude.
Yeah, see, I'm kind of going
That's
the other
not
way.
true, dude. I watched the first 30 minutes of Tiny Furniture. That was a fucking year of my life, dude.
What about The English Patient?
Oh, God, dude. Okay, Tiny Furniture was low-key a meme, but The English Patient, that's another thing, bro. That, if you want to talk about grueling cinema, I don't care. Dude, there cannot be anyone under the age of 58 that likes that fucking movie.
See, Houston, you and I were watching The English Patient. My experience with Angel's Egg was like watching that, but like not having your friend to like geek on it.
Yeah, to lean over. Yeah.
Dude, I remember we were watching that shit at you guys' place when y'all lived together. And I remember Ian came home and shit.
Yeah.
We were like, hey, man, you want to watch this movie with us? He like looked at it for like 10 seconds, was like, yeah, I'm going to go outside and smoke weed. And then like during it, I was like, please, God, can we turn this off? And you're like, yeah. And we went outside. But yeah, so I ended up being really, really affected by it by the end of the movie. And I think a lot of that comes from like where the director was at the time, and I'll go into this a lot more later. I've also been, probably not the same way because I never tried to go into seminary, but I know we all have religious backgrounds in our family, but I think out of the three of us, my family and my like childhood was the most devout out of the three of us. Like, it was like Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday evening, like everything you do it for God kind of thing. So it was something that like I believed like wholeheartedly for years and years and years, and I had a big, big loss of faith and a walk away from it, and like this movie just fucking feels like it. Like, I don't know what everything is saying, and I don't think I'm supposed to. I don't think everything is a one-to-one. I think it provides more questions than answers. I think it's, hard to sit through sometimes. I think like it might be a little too artistic for its own good, but god damn, it feels exactly the way that it did for me when I was like, shit, this entire thing that I've based my identity, my personality, my belief that like death isn't coming for me, like a thing that the anxiety of death that we all grapple with as humans. Like, I was like, oh shit, I'm cool there. Like, I got heaven,
Yeah.
All of that shit. And then all of a sudden you're just like, oh, maybe this is bullshit. It's freeing a year later. But God, it sucks at the beginning. God, like, so, and I don't want to go too far into that because I think we should take a break right about now. But I do want to say that like I kind of both half agree with you guys. It was really hard to sit through, but at some points, and sometimes I was like, man, this is definitely not going to beat Spirited Away. Holy shit! But other times I was like, I've never seen anything like this, and so I'm kind of at war with myself there. So I think we'll talk about that a little bit more. But does anyone have any final thoughts on either of these movies before we take a quick little 5?
One, when I read that it was a loss of faith, and then looking at that movie, I was like, oh yeah, it does kind of feel like that. That makes sense with all the religious stuff. I was thinking like, I feel like Houston's gonna really vibe with this movie. I really feel like he's gonna vibe, and that's not a diss. That's not a diss.
Am I that predictable though? Am I really that predictable?
No, well, I know that is.
I'm a mad fucking sucker for a gothic religious allegory. So
yeah. Second, I'm gonna attempt.
Oh yeah.
To assign a plot to this movie.
Go for it.
Here we go. It starts with
me
Noah.
to wait. Do you need me to drop a beat?
Oh yeah, yes. That's the stuff that I really liked that I was chewing on, or that I remembered that I was chewing on was that part. Sorry, continue.
It starts with Noah. The world is flooded. I don't remember the exact story. Has something to do with the dove. A dove flies off for some reason, and it's
Yup.
To
supposed
find
to return
land.
back to find land, and
Yeah.
return
Yup.
back to let them know about the land, and then they
Yup.
land, and then history has led to us being on this podcast. So Angel's Egg is an alternate telling where the dove does not return, and the dove just does whatever doves do and fucking dies.
Did
And
you?
so,
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well,
Go on.
let it finish.
oh, you're good.
Finish. God.
And so Noah, due to the dove not returning, lost his faith in God,
They've
and
been forsaken.
therefore, and I'm going to bring it up because I mentioned it earlier. I'm going to bring up, I'm going to bring up Nietzsche's progression of man, specifically the camel.
Going deep. Okay.
The camel to the lion to the child. The camel is shedding the ideas that have been taught to you your entire life. Specifically, like in this instance, like Christianity or like two world theories, that kind of thing. Being a camel is, you do everything that everyone tells you to do, and you're okay with it. But then you got to transform into the lion. You got to reject all notions, and you got to start doing things. You got to start understanding that you're doing things only because other people told you to. Similar to Noah.
To Michaela
in this
Peterson.
film.
Oh,
Yes,
Similar
Michaela
to
Peterson
Noah.
in this film.
with the alpha lion diet.
Who is Noah to you?
Hold on.
Okay.
And then after, basically when you're in this lion state, you're essentially that annoying fucking kid in high school who just discovered the word atheism and just has to bring up how God doesn't exist in class like all the time.
Weaponized atheism, dude.
Yes,
Ugh.
super annoying. And then you progress to the child stage where you realize that, hey, just because the things that I were taught were wrong and I acknowledge that they're wrong, that doesn't mean it's okay to shit on everybody else. And so you reach that child stage and you start doing things that you decide. It doesn't matter what it is, but you're doing things out of your own will, but you're also allowing others to pursue their own free will. So I think in this specific circumstance, in this movie, Noah was on the progression from the camel to the lion to the child, but he got stuck in the lion phase because he lost his faith and he was not able to overcome it. Hence why he is going around, and there are these instances of these remaining, I guess, humans or whatever they are, like the little girl, who are attempting to revive the dove and see if they can find land, i.e., establishing the faith back in again. And Noah, who's stuck in this lion phase, is like, nah, fuck that. That ain't real. Why don't you just live for yourself? And he's going around killing all those eggs and shit.
So that's Noah to you. He's Noah.
Yeah.
Yes.
The guy with the cross.
The guy is Noah, yes.
And then the last scene of the last shot of the movie supports that.
Yeah,
Does
because
it?
the ark's
Yeah.
overturned.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's
so you
the
guys
whole
saw
of
it
the
as an
ship.
overturned arc as
Ship.
well, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure because, like, it's like an island, right? But everyone saw it.
Now, I will say, it took me until it zoomed out a lot to realize that it was a ship. But yes.
Yeah.
But
Welcome to
beautiful.
fucking. You can definitely tell. Like, I was reading about Mamoru Oshii, and they were like, yeah, he took influence from a blah blah, and there's like Andrei Tarkovsky, and I was like, yep, I see it.
Yeah.
That like 2-minute like fucking shot just like panning out where I think is it Solaris that has a shot like that where Tarkovsky does like a 2-minute like zoom out to show to reveal information. So anyway, yeah,
I'm not sure. Does this support your argument, Jarrett? That because I was thinking like, what is the big spaceship that comes down? Do you think that the big spaceship represents sort of God coming to help, and then he is rejecting that help?
Yes, and I think because
he directly makes it go away.
Well, I was gonna say, I think you could also look at the little girl, for instance. On that ship, you have, I think it's hinted at later on. Once he kills the girl, she joins the ship as like that statue figure. So I think it's
he doesn't kill her.
Well, yeah, he kills her, and then the ship comes down again.
Yeah, he did.
No, sorry.
He breaks
He broke the egg, and then she jumped off a cliff, right?
Indirectly. Well, no, she was chasing after him, and she just as she was chasing, she was like staring at him in the distance, and then was like, "Oh shit, I'm suspended in air." Like she didn't see the ravine in front of her. Kind of. I think it was accidental.
So either way, I took it as okay. Maybe they're not this. And again, I'm not saying for certain, but I sort of took it as okay. Maybe not even necessarily that she was a remaining human from the Ark. She is a descendant of, I guess, that ship, and she's her purpose is sort of to either bring him back to the camel stage, I guess, to sort of rope him back into his faith, or she's meant to serve as a means for him to accept the fact that it's okay that she's acting on her own will, and he doesn't need to go around doing that.
Dude, somebody's been going hard on the fucking nihilism.
Dude, I told, like I said,
hell yes.
It wasn't the ideas and stuff that made me dislike this movie. It was the
Friedrich
hour
Nietzsche.
and 15 of just like a jarring animation, macabre feel. It was almost like it was like a Poe story on steroids. You know, I felt like somebody in the 1800s.
I thought that was
reading
pitch
Poe.
perfect Eye of God sound right there.
Oh, dude, that's another thing I want to say. This is simultaneously the loudest and the quietest movie I've ever watched in my life, dude.
Yeah. It truly, I don't even know if I would classify it as a movie, not to get too pretentious or anything, but
yeah.
But yeah, all right. So we should probably take the time out, take a break here. So take about 5 minutes, Waz, get some more brewskis. Stop sweating for a few seconds.
Are you sweating?
I am as well.
I mean, because I'm right under my AC, so I didn't want to turn it on. So like the whole time you hear like
yeah, I had to turn my
you guys
fan
are
off
so
so you could
greasy.
hear that.
I mean, you can see shit right here. I need to wash my face.
Wow.
All right.
You're glistening.
Well,
Okay.
we'll be back to compare these two movies in a few minutes.
All right. Break time.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Spaghetti and Meat Boys podcast, the only podcast to give you step-by-step instructions to know what to do when the pimp is in the crib. Spoiler alert. We're going to tell you to drop it like it's hot. I'm your host, Snoop Doggy Doog. And, with me are the same two guys who were here before. You know the fucking drill. You've been gone for 12 seconds max?
Call me Bop It.
Maybe 0.
Zero? No, I do put
Do we have
time.
intermission music?
We do have intermission music.
It's your music. What do you mean?
No. The
Yes.
intermission music is not his. His
Oh.
music is the intro and outro, but the
Really?
intermission
Is
music
it?
is Daybreak by Michael Haggins. Don't quote me on that because I checked. I don't think he's I don't think he's signed to like a major label, so hopefully we can get away with playing his music. But yeah, I hope he is not signed by a major label. But if he's not, and if nobody copyright claims it, then the intermission music is Daybreak. If somebody copyright claims it, it's some motherfucking bullshit from the YouTube ad-free music that you can get. You
Just
you
keep
don't have to
shuffling it.
license.
Just
They'll-
keep
they'll-
re-uploading it with a different song until they just let you go.
They'll keep flagging it. What
Well,
are
that's why you
talking-
just do a different song every time.
It's automated, dude. Like, have you ever uploaded a video to YouTube with a copyrighted song, like owned by UMG? It gets taken down before the upload is complete. It's fucking crazy.
Then talk over it. Just be like, no.
I am going to re-record the whole fucking song by myself.
Oh,
I'm gonna
good.
hum
I'd be
it
like that. Do like acapella with yourself.
Do it. But everything's the same except you're singing as Sheen.
I don't think.
Ultralight.
Well, the Daybreak doesn't have any words. That's the fucking point. It's like
That's
it
a
sounds
bummer.
like elevator music. It's
Okay.
really fun.
That's
and jazzy.
good. That's good. We should
have
just play
like a
elevator
record.
music.
Yeah.
It is kind of elevator music.
Nice.
I mean, no hate on Michael Haggins. Love you, brother.
Thanks.
My guy. Not you
Yeah.
guys. I'm talking to fucking Michael Haggins, dude. The the writer and performer of the classic smash hit Daybreak with its
Re-record
jazzy melodies.
Re-record it and then just do like some hip hop ad libs, just like Ultra Lord in the background.
Ultra Lord.
I support Israel because Ultra Lord told me to in the Bible.
Bruh.
Actually, Sheen, it's a little more complicated than that, Jimmy. Seems as if the Palestinians have not had the power of the United States military on their side for 100 fucking years.
You gotta cut.
So you
this
keep
'cause
saying it's a complicated issue, but it's really fucking not.
you gotta cut this because you gotta make this into an actual video. You don't want to spoil it.
Okay, fine. I'm gonna make this into an actual video. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna draw the copyright, or wait, no, it's not copyright. Trademark symbol right there. So please don't steal it. I don't believe in copyright, but please don't steal it. That's a good idea of having the Jimmy Neutron characters.
Dude, please don't
Talk-
steal that shit.
Talk about-
please don't steal it. I'm bad. Don't steal my idea about the Jimmy Neutron characters solving the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, bro.
That should be the rest.
that
That should be the rest
No,
of this,
that's-
what
that's
we do
the-
here.
Shit. I mean, I don't think you guys are gonna pick Angel's Egg, so
No.
we. There's no way I can convince you.
No, you could try it. I mean,
I don't
it's
even know
just
if
it's
I'm
just
gonna
a
pick it.
shame. It's just up against a pretty.
Okay,
pretty good
we don't
movie.
have to go too hard, even though that made me sad. 'Cause, God, there's so much fucking imagery in this movie. But I guess this is a segue into. I want to say, and I'm gonna stroke myself off right here, like if y'all don't mind.
Turn the
I mean,
camera down.
I don't give a shit. Figuratively stroke myself. I'm gonna pat myself on the back, and this was completely incidental. But you know how I made these matchups. I tried to save for Paprika and I think Your Name. Everything has a matchup with something that has at least one or two sometimes significant, sometimes arbitrary qualities that tie them together. And so when I saw Spirited Away and Angel's Egg, I was like, because I wanted Spirited Away to not go up against something similar to it. So I was like, these are distant as fuck. But I was like, it's a little girl in kind of a foreign place guided by, someone. Which, that was me reading the plot synopsis for Angel's Egg, which, by the way, is very misleading. It was nothing like
Yes,
that at all.
it is.
So going into this movie, I was like, oh, fuck. Like, these are going to have zero things in common other than the fact that, like, the main character is a young girl, which, spoiler, in anime films is not uncommon. So I was like, shit, I flubbed it. I flubbed it on this one. Like, if we were just going fucking dream sequences, I could have done so much more. I could have rearranged the whole fucking bracket. These two movies had way more in common than I could have ever fucking predicted. Like, I think these are the two closest, other than maybe Ghost in the Shell and Akira, as far as, like, pure just connection, like, to where you can compare multiple qualities. And it's so cool to me because they're so different at the same time.
Yeah.
But you'd still have the two young girls in the foreign landscape, trying to find their way, not knowing exactly, how they got there or what to do, but and then apparently they both have an emo boyfriend, or not boy that is a friend, an older emo boy that is kind of up in the air. It's like, is he their friend? Is he not their friend? I mean, not by the end, but
Is he a river?
Yeah.
is he a river? Is he Noah from the Bible, dude? Is
From
he
the
Jesus Christ?
Bible?
Did the Bible have dragons?
No.
Yes. There were dragons
No.
in the Bible, at least.
What fucking Bible are you reading?
Revelations has the dragon.
Yeah, dude. Song of Ice and Fire. Oh, no, dude. No. the dragon in if there's even dragon imagery in Revelation, it is 100% spiritual. Like, it's not real.
The word
not
dragon
concrete.
is in the Bible. There is a thing called a dragon. Mic drop.
What? I don't think dragons were invented when the Bible was written.
Well, the
You're
English
reading it.
translation. I'm not reading the ancient
Yeah.
Hebrew.
Okay.
Houston.
But most of the translations happened before fantasy was really a thing. But anyway,
Guys, you're kind of dragging. Let's.
all right, dude. Jarrett is
Okay.
definitely not my tempo. So
Let's talk about.
no.
What,
Hang on.
Spirited Away?
Let me finish what I was trying to say. I'm sorry.
No, you're okay.
I'm not trying to be a dick. But talking about what they had in common. But I think the biggest thing that was crazy to me, and we got a little derailed on emo boys. I love them. They're cute as fuck.
Yeah.
But
Same.
Damn straight.
except for the ones that are into Blink 182, fuck them. Anyway,
That doesn't count.
the biggest thing that they have is just. I'm not trying to say like blind faith, even though I do think that might be kind of a theme in Angel's Egg. Just faith in general. I think if you look at Spirited Away, Chihiro never strays from what she knows. She tries sometimes. She gets tested a lot of the times, like you were saying, but she doesn't fall into the clutches of adults' hustle culture or capitalism or greed. And no matter what happens, she still has her mind set on her goals, which is saving her parents. And even at the end, when, Yubaba is like, you got to solve this test, and literally everyone from the spirit world is like, hey, fuck you. No, she doesn't. Chihiro still says, you know what? No, I'll do your fucking test. And I think it's all about her faith. I think it's all about, I don't know, there's a Japanese word for it. Do you know the word that I'm talking about, Jarrett? It's like, it's used in Japanese media a lot, or I don't think it's used, but it's a descriptor for like the motivations or the spirit of children.
Do not.
Like the unwavering nature of like children.
Not
There's
off
like
the
a
top of my
word
head.
for it. I think it's like, it starts with a
Baka.
G. What?
Baka.
Baka. I think it starts with a G or something like that. Editor Houston will figure it out if it even exists. And I think that's a big one that Miyazaki puts into a lot of his films about children. It's just their unwavering spirit through anything. If you look at all of his films, even the trauma or the trials or the tribulations, it's never about, to me, Spirited Away is not Chihiro being, oh, we're thrusting her into this adult world. And it's so, I think I was talking to you about this, Jarrett, in that initial conversation that we had a while back, was it's not about, in most media you see children in adult situations, and the point that they're trying to get across is like, oh, how awful is it that these kids are put into situations like this? How awful is this through the eyes of a child? You know what I mean? How awful is this?
Not in children's movies, though.
Well, not in children's movies, but when you're throwing a child, you're taking away a child's name and making them work in a bathhouse for no money. Usually in most media, it would be seen as how awful is this. But when Miyazaki makes a movie, and especially in Spirited Away, it's not about the things surrounding Chihiro, even though they all matter, and even though I think the critiques of capitalism and greed and hustle culture and all of that is there, especially because of the economic boom of Japan in the 80s, and then the economic crash of Japan in the 90s, which is why they built these amusement parks everywhere in the 90s, and then they all went out of business when the economy went down. Like, that's a direct reference to that happening, and so like that capitalist culture from that era, because the movie was made in 2001. But it's always about Chihiro, and it's always about not how awful it is that she's in this situation, but how great it is that she's not a part of this situation. Like how great it is to be a child.
Yes.
Kind of, in a way. Like her resilience and her strength and her faith and herself is stronger than anything else in this world. And that's magical, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
And I think Angel's Egg is a much more gothic Dark Souls type tone to it, which Dark Souls is directly inspired by this movie, by the way, if y'all didn't know. A lot of the imagery in, I know, Jarrett, you're a fan of like Bloodborne and Dark Souls and shit, right?
I think you're probably a bigger fan than I
Yeah,
am.
I beat
Yeah,
Dark
yeah.
Souls 3.
Yeah, I know, and fuck, in one of them there's, I don't know shit about them.
Shadowfish.
Yeah,
Tanks.
Shadowfish. The egg. There's a broken egg and a statue and shit that's like really similar and shit. I saw a picture of it on Google when I was like researching this fucking movie, but I don't know anything about the Dark Souls games. And I know the artist that worked on this with Oshii, because he was the director, but one of the artists like did all like the Final Fantasy games and shit, as well. Or not, I don't know if it was every single one, but he worked on a lot of the Final Fantasy games.
There's a lot.
There's a lot, yeah.
Even though it's a more gothic, Dark Soul, a Lovecraftian, I hate throwing that word around, but Lovecraftian.
Orwellian.
Lovecraftian is the Orwellian of like, the Orwellian is what like conservatives say when they like misunderstand American politics.
Lovecraftian is the Orwellian of cancel culture.
Lovecraftian is just what like fucking like film bros and fucking nerds that like saw one Tarantino movie like throw around. They're like, oh, something's scary? It's Lovecraftian.
Lovecraftian, yeah.
Oh, dude, yes. I love that this is very reminiscent of a guy who shot himself into his own home and like was really racist. No, H.P. Lovecraft did create a lot of good media, but it was all about fear and anxiety and shit like that, because he was, a very feel for an anxious person. Nothing wrong with that. He was a racist. Definitely something wrong with that. He was altogether kind of a shitty person, but anyway, there's huge themes of faith, and like this girl the whole time in Angel's Egg's carrying this egg around, and dude is like, hey, like, what's inside the egg? She's just like, it's mine. I don't know. He's like, the only way to know is to break it open. She's like, yeah, no, whatever. It's my duty. Hey, this egg, and the whole time he's like, what the fuck are you doing, man? She takes him to the skeleton of that bird, and she's like, hey, I know that this egg is the bird, and I'm going to give it back. Like, I'm here to hatch it. Like, this is what I have to do. This is my duty. I don't remember my life. I just know this is what I'm doing. It's her faith in that egg. And he's like, well, do you hear it breathing? She's like, yeah, I can hear it breathing. He's like, well, that's probably you breathing. She's like, well, I hear its wings flapping. He's like, that's the wind. She's like, whatever. This is my egg, and I believe in it. And I know a lot of, and the same with the dudes with the statues, the little whaler statues trying to kill the shadowfish.
Yeah.
There are no shadowfish there, and they're destroying everything around them, but it's that blind faith. But yeah, so that's what I wanted to get out of the way. If we're not going to spend long comparing the two of these, I just wanted to be like, I'm bewildered but impressed with myself for accidentally matching these two up. Yeah,
I think that Angel's Egg is I think it's really good, but I think it suffers just because of what it is versus what Spirited Away is. I feels like Spirited Away is engineered to be enjoyed, just to be pleasant and fun and exciting and rewarding the entire time. And Angel's Egg is sort of engineered to be challenging and grim and thought-provoking, just sort of like dangle, what you want out of the film is sort of dangled on a string, like, you got to really go for it. And so I think it's like, you really can't come out of one, or I guess you could, but you really can't come out of Angel's Egg with the same feelings you come out of Spirited Away with.
Of course not. No,
exactly.
No, not at all.
And so
Apathy.
I think I don't apathy. Yeah, maybe so. But I don't think, unless you're a person who just Angel's Egg just like hits you right in the money, I can't see anyone picking Angel's Egg over Spirited Away.
Yeah.
Unless because Angel's Egg is such a, I don't know,
niche.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it can't compete just with what it's the way, because what it is. because of what it is.
I think you're focusing too much on Angel's Egg, but I think it should be the other way. Like Spirited Away is just so good and so broad and so universal that nothing can, to kind of in a way.
Well, I
Or
think
it would take something that has the same kind of power that it has to compete, and Angel's Egg only has that power to a select group.
I think the type of film that Spirited Away makes it inherently more successful in this type of comparison than
That's fair.
than the type of Angel's Egg,
because it provides. Well, also the way we're comparing these things is completely arbitrary. Like,
yes, of course, yeah.
We never set up any guidelines for
No.
how we're comparing or letting these move on. We were just like, yeah, we're going to talk about the two and the connection between the two and whatever we like more about, which one does whatever thing we decide better.
Exactly.
So last week when we were talking about Mirai and Grave of the Fireflies, we could have been like, family. Which one does family better? Or we could have been like, which one is structured better? Like it didn't necessarily matter. And we didn't make anything specific because we swept that bitch. Because
Mirai was pretty great. But maybe that defeats my argument, because I wouldn't have said the same thing about Mirai versus Grave of the Fireflies. Although Mirai is engineered to be to be more of a Spirited Away kind of enjoyment. Yeah, like just lift your spirits, kind of wow, I'm having a great time. Versus Grave of the Fireflies is more like wow, more Angel's Eggy. But although they're still drastically different, but
Angel's Eggy.
But I wouldn't have said the same thing about
Angel's
that.
Omelet.
Angel's Omelet.
Leggy, my Angel's Eggy.
Oh shit, dude! I want some toaster waffles now, man.
Go for it, boss.
I don't have any. That's the problem. That's what Angel's Egg was trying to tell me, dude.
You need to get on to Publix and get you some leggy
Publix?
eggies.
What do I look like? Do I look rich to you? Can't go to Publix.
Sorry, actually, I'll save that.
Yeah,
for
don't be a
not
Publix
you.
defender. All right, just because you work there doesn't mean you have to suck their dick.
No. I was gonna talk about something different, but we're here to talk about movies, and it has nothing to do with movies.
We're here to talk about whatever the fuck we want. We're just using movies right now to get us into this shit. And once we finish this bracket, we're not gonna. I mean, we could start a new bracket, or we could just say like, fuck it, let's let Houston rant about copyright law for 2 hours.
Yeah, that's probably what we'll do.
Yeah, as long as we start.
So here's why NFTs
before
suck.
10:15 every day, every time we record.
Dude,
we'll
Ian. All right, I'm gonna start padding the time for Ian. If we want to get together at like 8, I'm gonna tell Ian 6, so that way at 8:30 he'll be ready.
Good call.
That won't work. I'll see right through that shit. I'll show up at fucking 11.
I do see what you're saying, and I'm being kind of a defeatist in a way, or I'm being kind of, I guess, negative, or cynical. I was just like, I don't think Angel's Egg is gonna win, and I'm probably gonna pick it just because I know the two of you are gonna pick Spirited Away, and so what?
How do you think that's gonna make Angel's Egg feel? That it was a pity vote?
It's not a pity vote for me, but I think if I was the deciding factor. If I was the deciding person, it would be a lot harder for me to choose. But because I think it's a safe.
What would you choose if you were the deciding factor?
Just see, I don't know. I would need another fucking 30 minutes to talk about it. That's what this part is for. So I don't know.
The floor is yours.
I don't want to talk the whole time,
Jarrett,
because I talked way more than you guys on the first one. I think I've talked more this time just because I can't shut up.
It's okay. We've actually had you muted for the last 30
Honestly,
minutes.
that's fine. I literally take stimulants to treat ADHD. So I'm gonna be if at any point I'm talking too much, should be like, shut the fuck up. I'll be like, all right, that's fine.
Shut the fuck up.
That's fair.
Mogwai. Jarrett.
Yes.
Why is Spirited Away a perfect film?
It's not a perfect film.
Oh. Why is it better than Angel's Egg?
Overall, well, I guess it depends. What are we better in what way?
Better in whatever way you decide, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think it's obvious.
To me, in terms of enjoyment,
I sort of agree. Spirited Away is definitely engineered to be more enjoyable holistically.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I could go so far because Angel's Egg, I respect it a lot, and my problems with it are I can't think of it. They're cosmetic, where the movie just stressed me out
Yeah.
mostly because of the visuals and the audio, not because of what the movie was doing and presenting. And I think in that regard, I might say it is potentially almost better than Spirited Away, but because this is more about our subjective just vibes with the movie. I definitely I don't know if I'll ever watch Angel's Egg
Vibes.
again. I definitely
Yeah.
won't on YouTube. That's for damn sure.
Good luck getting a physical copy of this fucking
I know,
movie.
I know.
Holy shit.
But I don't know. Angel's Egg, I respect it a lot for just going out there, putting it out there, and challenging the viewer. And
Just
I think
being itself, you know?
yeah. And I think
It was being itself.
Putting itself out there, you know, asking Brad to prom because who cares about gender roles? Sorry. I'm so sorry. Keep
no,
going.
you're fine. So in that regard, I think because I think I do have more respect for movies that don't just lay it out for the viewers, which I don't think Spirited Away does. I think Spirited Away has a lot more nuance than just the base story, but I don't know. I think I wouldn't be as mad of somebody saying they think Angel's Egg is a better movie. I would say I just lean towards Spirited Away because my one experience with Angel's Egg was not a great one. And I love Spirited Away.
Yeah.
Yes.
But going back to your main point, it is not a perfect movie.
So,
Not at
yeah,
all.
yeah. I can see that. And I think as much as I want to be like, oh, watch Angel's Egg again, like you'll see, like I don't think it's that kind of movie. I think it's one of the ones that you probably could like more and more on rewatch,
Yeah,
but I think
yeah.
it has to affect you first to draw you back in
Yeah.
a way to where. And I guess I'll go back and reference the the episode that we're not putting out until later. But that's Ghost in the Shell, I guess, is one that I think everyone benefits from rewatch. I think the first
think
time
so.
you watch it, it's one of those that like it sneaks up on you and you're kind of confused. And the more and more you watch that movie, like it'll serve
Yeah.
everyone to watch it a second time. Like no one will go backwards on that. I'm not saying everyone will go forwards, but no one will go backwards on rewatch.
I think
Unless they fucking were like on DMT or something. It was, this movie is
knows?
God.
yeah.
But I think Angel's Egg is one of those ones that if it doesn't pull you in at the beginning, no amounts of rewatch, I don't think you can manufacture that one. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So I kind of see where both of you guys are coming from, but more specifically you, Jarrett, because you just talked about it. But yeah, I think you'll probably stay in that position, and I think that's a fine position to stay in. Whether I
don't
agree
know,
or disagree.
My butt kind of hurts sitting like this, so I don't know if it's that fine
What,
of a
what kind of chair are you in, my guy?
No,
It
it's
looks
'cause
nice. I'm in a
I
wooden
got my
chair.
legs propped up.
Hey, bro, you give us a foot shot, bro.
You gonna
I'm too
leave us
lazy to
hanging
do
like
we,
that?
we need,
I
we need to
feel
see
like,
them little piggies.
I feel like Ghost in the Shell is a movie that I could rewatch and maybe change my opinion between that and Acura. However, I
Mhm.
feel like the gap for me between Spirited Away and Angel's Egg can't be covered by a better
Yeah.
understanding of its themes. I think that
I guess that's a better way of putting what I was trying to say.
the I could enjoy it more, but like if you just like took themes out of both, I don't know. Well, that's probably a bad example, but it's
I get what you're saying.
the
It's like
gap
it-
isn't just because of confusion
it
or anything
It
like
didn't
that.
pull you anywhere close to Spirited Away, and there's no way that you're gonna launch from that point forward just because of a rewatch. Like,
Yeah.
rewatches are always going to be marginal. Like you can get new things out of them every time, but there is always something to be said about a first watch, and things can be different. I know sometimes you have those rare occurrences where you like fucking hate something on first watch, and then all of a sudden it just becomes great.
Yeah.
That was my thing with Spring Breakers. I watched it when I was a freshman in high school, or Was I in 8th grade? In 8th grade, freshman. It had come out like 6-ish months before, and I finally watched it, and I was like, "This is the worst piece of shit movie I've ever seen." I was like, "This woman Harmony." I thought Harmony Korine was a woman at the time. I was like, I know it's supposed to be an art film, but she should have just written a poem instead of some dumb edgy boy bullshit.
Yeah.
And then I rewatched it again like 2 years later, and I was like, this bomb. And every time I rewatch it, I'm like, this is literally a perfect movie. Like, and I will die on that hill that I say it's like one of the top 5 most perfect films ever made. Even though it's not my favorite, it's not like my favorite, even my favorite Harmony Korine movie. I will say it is a perfect movie, but that's a discussion for another day.
That's kind of consistent as well. I think you've brought up Harmony Korine.
I have. Well, no, you actually brought him up because you were asking me what a liquid narrative was, or you were trying to get to that point, and you brought up the beach bum.
Yeah,
But
You
yeah,
just gotta accept we're a one-note crowd.
We are. I have 2
Bonjour.
interests. I have 2 interests. Only 2. I like Harmony Korine movies and big booty bitches. No, but I do get what you're saying, Ian. And there are rare occurrences where you can vault very far forward, but you're like, Angel's Egg just didn't affect you enough.
I don't think that's what that.
Or didn't affect you enough, but like you have good reason to believe that like your enjoyment is not going to catapult all the way up to the level of something as Spirited Away, right?
Yes, I don't think.
You're just like, no
the
amount of
affecting
rewatch will get me that far, you know?
Yeah, but I don't think. I think even on a not affecting way, I don't think that the
Yeah.
the factual elements of both. I don't think Angel's Egg is as good as Spirited Away.
I mean, that's also it's fair to have an opinion, no matter how wrong it is.
I think
no.
Spirited Away, I think, is very well thought out. I think it's very obviously it's got great. I don't know how to put it. It's very well made, and all the little bits just work so well.
It's very well realized. Like it is.
What?
The Soot Boys. No, it is concept and execution in harmony. Like it is a big, broad, beautiful concept, and it plays out just everything you would want and everything you would need. I definitely get that. And I kind of want to move a little bit away from Spirited Away. I mean, obviously I'm going to keep bringing it back up, but I don't think we need to break it down much more.
No.
Not saying we've broken it down really much at all. Well, what can we say about Spirited Away that hasn't already been said, except for our personal experiences, which were the first thing that we went through?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's cool to still relate things back to Spirited Away, but no amount of talking about the capitalist undertones or the spirit of children, or how Miyazaki pulled on influences from his childhood, or anything, or how No Face is an incel. Like, no amount of that has not been said yet. And not in a cynical way, just in a like, this movie is so universal and so fucking incredible that it has been talked about to bits and pieces and should be talked about even more. But I think I, at least personally, just want to give a little bit more focus to Angel's Egg, if that's all right with you guys.
Sure. If you could talk about why it's better.
I'm not trying to talk about why it's better,
Okay.
because I don't think it necessarily is. I don't think it has to be, but I don't think it is. And I don't think any amount of me being like, oh, it's fucking better. Like, I don't feel that strongly. I don't feel as strongly as I would have about anything else that we've talked about beforehand. This is the most, like, okay I am with, like, the movie that I like, probably, like, taking the fucking L. And how blasphemous would it be? Like, how fucked up do you think, like, any kind of casual viewers or just people passing through and just, like, pop this on and end up listening 2 weeks in a row, they watch Grave of the Fireflies get fucking swept, and then all of a sudden Spirited Away gets kicked round 1 as well. They'd be like, who the fuck do these guys think they are? Not saying I'm making any of my decisions or you guys are based on what potential non-existent or future existing viewers would think, but I can just imagine, like, if I were listening to three white 20-somethings talk about like another, country and culture's media, and then every single like, mass appeal popular but still incredibly, relevant and well-made films came across, and we're like, this more obscure one I think was a little bit better because it
Yeah.
had high-piercing screams and a Jesus allegory.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Spirited Away is just too pop. Like, I would roll my eyes whether we meant that shit or not. Even if it was our genuine opinions, I would just be like, oh, what the fuck?
I could see that.
Do you guys like anything, or do you just live to fucking spew faux analysis? But yeah.
So go
the thing-
ahead with your faux analysis before we.
So what I wanted to say is kind of what I brought up right before the break, is when I said it's about feeling, but also how it felt like a loss of faith. So I can run through just like quick, like every symbol. You got, the whalers, throwing spears and destroying everything around them at these fish that aren't there anymore or aren't there at all, and then you see the picture of the fish in a stained glass window. And the church that I grew up in had a big old stained glass window of yours truly, Jesus H. Christ. So I think that was kind of like a people on blind faith chasing this religion, destroying everything around them. There are things, the dude carries a literal fucking cross.
A little cross.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to be a gun at some point or something.
It is a gun.
He never
you can,
shoots anything with it, though.
He doesn't shoot anything. But
think
it's
you're thinking of
you can see a
Trigun.
trigger
can?
on it, and I think there's a barrel at the bottom, and there's a hammer kind of at the cross section, and a trigger below the cross section.
Okay.
So yeah, it's definitely a gun. It's like a neo-futuristic gun.
Yeah, it's very.
I was hoping he would shoot something, but he crushed the egg, and you can be
He
like,
did. Could have shot it.
that was her faith was in that egg, but also if he's, a religious figure, maybe not Noah, or maybe he's Christ, maybe he's God, maybe he's Noah, whatever. There are plenty of instances in the Bible. I think the big one that everyone points to would be the story of Job. I don't know if you guys know that. Y'all recall
Yes.
from Bible school the story
yeah,
of Job?
Yes.
Yeah, Job.
Fish.
Job Dirt.
What?
Job Dirt.
Yeah.
So for
Sorry,
the
continue.
ignorance out there, Job was this dude who was like really hot into God, man. Like he was like, fuck yeah, God. I love God, and he has family, and he had all this land and servants and blah blah blah. He was rich and shit. Satan rolls up to God and was like, hey, that dude only praises you because like he's got all this bullshit. He's got everything he wants. And God's like, nah, he praised me because he loves me. He's like, if you let me just take everything away from him, bet he will stop. He'll curse your name. And God was like, deal, bitch. And so he let Satan get free reign. So he like killed his kids. He like killed his wife. Fucking gave him a bunch of like diseases that wouldn't kill him, but just made him sick. His whole livestock fucking died. All of his servants like just made this dude's life miserable. And the whole time he was like, hey, God is still pretty cool. So then afterwards, God was like, hey, Job, that was a test and you passed. So I'm going to give you new wives and new kids and even more money. So yeah.
Sounds like a D&D campaign, dude.
Sounds like
I was thinking of, is that
Oh,
Jonah that goes in the fish?
that is Jonah that goes in the
Oh,
whale.
okay. I was confusing those
That's
stories.
Job. No, D&D campaign of D&D stands for douche and dick, because that's what God and Satan were in that fucking story.
I meant specifically like your whole family dies, so you insert like some NPCs and replace them as like rewards.
I always, even growing up, even when I was like so hard into religion, and I was like, oh my God, like I strive to be like that faithful to God, and that, like through the good and the bad, I will praise his name. I was like, I'd be pretty fucking bummed if like I lost my family, and like if God gave me a new family, I'd be like, I mean, thanks, man, but like I really liked my family. Like, I wouldn't care about the money or all of the other material shit, but I was like, that's my, like, wife and kids. Like, even as a child, I was still, like, blindly into this shit because I thought it was, like, the only thing that mattered. I was like, that's a little fucked. That's a little fucked.
Yeah.
But anyway, there are a million more symbols. I mean, the girl's, like, literally living in an ark, and then the island at the end, there's an ark on top of an overturned ark. It's like no,
think about
the
that.
whole Noah story. There's I could keep going on. I have a fucking billion other things written down just that are religious symbols, but the reason I'm saying it just feels exactly like this, and I think is what you were saying, Ian, about how you're like, there's so much to chew on, but it just, and we were Spirited Away, like, gives you what you need. Angel's Egg just, there's not enough there. You know what I mean? Like, it just dangles so much in front of you.
Yeah.
And as somebody who grew up devoutly into this shit, and when you have this loss of faith, it's not easy and it's not immediate. Especially because, and I would understand that it's hard for anyone who wasn't in this to comprehend in the same way when I talked to, and I know I've talked to you about it, Jarrett, before, when we were younger or a couple years back, and I'd just be like, what do you think? Like, what do you feel about, like, whether, what if there is a God? And you'd be like, oh, shit, I'd be wrong. Like, I don't know, shit. And I was like, how can you be that cavalier about it? How can you be that fucking chill? Like, I can't comprehend that in the same way I don't think anyone who didn't grow up the way I did can comprehend how fucking, because, I mean, it's conditioned into you.
Mm-hmm.
It's seen as, like, the most important thing. My parents, they're nice people. I'm not here to dog on my parents and shit. And I know they were not the only people who were raised in the church to do this way, but they would be like, God is first. You're after him. Like, I would, like the Abraham and Isaac. God asked Abraham to go up and sacrifice his kid. And he's like, shit, all right. And he goes to do it. Obviously, God stops him. I don't want to say obviously, because God definitely murdered a fuck ton of people in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
But my parents were like, yeah, I'd definitely do that shit if God asked me. And, like, that's fucked to hear as a kid. But it's even more fucked to, like, be conditioned to believe that, like, that's the right way. And so I was like, yeah, of course you would kill me if God asked. Like, and I'd be glad to be killed. And shit. So walking away from this, and I know it's taking me forever to get here, but walking away from this is not you're not just like, I have a lot of gay friends, and, like, God says these guys suck, so, like, shit, guess I'm no more God. Like, it's like leaving, like, an abusive relationship, and I don't want to use that analogy lightly, because I'm not trying to compare, like, my being raised in religion to anyone who's experienced domestic abuse. But I would like to, and I'd like to say, like, if you take some of the phrases that you hear commonly in Christianity and you replace God or Jesus with, like, my husband or, like, my boyfriend or something, or my partner, it sounds really fucked up. Like, people, they're always talking about how, like, you're wretched and you're dirty and you're unclean, but, like, God washes away your sins. Like, I'm wretched and I'm unworthy of love. But my boyfriend, except for my boyfriend, he sees past that. And you'd be like, girl, get the fuck out, or dude, get the fuck out of there, right? Or it doesn't matter how anyone sees me. All I have to do, I have to work for him. It's in his eyes I'm worthy. Because I'm unworthy. Like, it's his eyes. Like, I don't need to focus on anything but him. Like, and if you don't treat that as God and you treat that as, like, another person, every psychologist and also, like, every normal ass person will be like, what the fuck, get out of there.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's why it makes it so hard to walk away. So when I was like, I don't know if I believe this anymore, I was sitting there like, oh shit, well, I'm gonna go to hell, and I would feel guilty because that's just your natural condition when you do a sin or something. The first thing you feel, and I know you guys have felt this whether you were mad into religion or not, but, like, being a kid, like, I'd, like, masturbate or some shit, and then I would, like, feel so awful that I would, like, cry, and I would, like, pray, and I'd be like, I'm never gonna do that again. It's just like, God, I'm a hormonal kid, like, that shit happens. But I'd be like, oh, no, 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 no. So that's the way that I would still process things. So being out of religion and then thinking my family was going to hate me, and I would try and try. I went to, I would go talk to people in my church, like after church, and like set up meetings so they could discuss some of the questions, like people who were like really wise and godly. And I would just be like, please fucking give me these answers so I can stop feeling like this is wrong, so I can go back to the comfort of God and religion. It's a safety net. It's, protecting from not only death, but also like any bad thing that happens, to know that there's like some omniscient being out there that like fucking loves you and like is gonna protect you. That's so nice. Like it's like fucking being in utero, man. Like it's like this fucking, I don't know how to describe it. Like it is mad nice, but you can't force yourself to believe it. But in the same way, you can't force yourself to just stop. So that it, and I'm going too far into this, and I'm
No, I
sorry
get
to
you.
make this mad serious, because
I had a conversation
we were just having a time. Mm-hmm.
I had a conversation with my brother about that recently, because I think it was a lot easier for me than it was for you with that kind of stuff. And maybe that's why Angel's Egg doesn't hit me as much. But I talked to him recently where it was like, so that sort of mindset sticks with you for, I guess, forever. But I was telling Lucas, there are times when I sort of forget that people even think that in the first place, where I'll be having a conversation, I'll be like, yeah, and like dying, that's like crazy, and they'll be like, yeah, but like at least you get to go to heaven, and I'm like, oh fuck yeah, sure, I forgot that was like on the table. That's sort of just like sort of not been, it's not in my subconscious mind.
See,
I didn't realize
I cannot get rid of that.
Yeah.
Is the thing. Like, and that's what, like, dude, I'm straight up on anxiety medication, man. Like, I'm in therapy just to deal with like the crushing weight of death. And like, that's already one thing to come across, but to flip how you believe in it, how you've always seen death as like a natural thing, but not natural in the way of humanity. Natural is in like passing from one realm of existence to the realm of existence you were meant to live in. Like, heaven is home. We're here temporarily. And then to go to being like, well, shit, there's no heaven. Just be like, oh my God. Like, it's a lot. Because like everyone goes through this as a child. Like, psychology tells us,
Yeah.
like, there comes a moment, whether people remember it or not, but where they become conscious of death and they process it as a kid. And like, I had to do that, but there was always an answer, because I was a very advanced kid. So I was able to, when I was learning about the concept of death, also able to comprehend the idea of salvation. Like, I became a Christian when I was 5 years old, dude. 5 years old. I remember being in kindergarten at 5 years old and singing a song to the Addams Family theme to learn the days of the week. And I had committed my life to Christ at the same age. How the fuck is that okay? So this movie, to get back to the movie and away from my tragic ass lifestyle, and I'm sorry that I've made this like way too fucking like Eeyore downer fucking. But
it's an Eeyore movie.
That's what it feels like to have all these questions and no answers, and like you were desperately searching for something to latch on to, and all you have is this blind faith, and then something smashes that, right? And you just see this, there was nothing in the egg to begin with. And that screech that she lets out, where like all the other screeches that we had heard before felt very mechanical, but after he smashes her egg and she wakes up to find it, and you're just like, and she just screams. That was the moment where I was like, damn, like this is what it feels like.
Was the egg definitely empty?
The egg was empty, yeah.
Okay,
in the movie.
okay.
The egg was definitely empty. Also, what a thing for him to have multiple opportunities to break that egg open, but just to wait until he had gained her trust. She had fallen asleep, and then after like a very long shot of him just sitting there while she's sleeping, he's like, now I'm gonna go fucking break it.
Yeah.
Just
not in a hurry.
God works in mysterious ways, you know?
Yes, he does.
But yeah, to get more into the movie itself, and also the fact that she was rewarded for her faith. I don't know if I will take it that way. Because you see the big eye of God, right? The big
Yeah.
mechanical orb that you were talking about earlier.
She sort of transcends up. She has a statue, stuff like that.
And you notice all the statues before that were just like of the same people, right? They were identical and they were all like praying.
Yeah.
They were all like nameless, faceless, kind of like 100% the same, except for her. And it's like her and her egg. But I know you could take that as very, like she was rewarded in heaven, but also I kind of find it as like, even though she realized nothing was in the egg, and then after clinging onto this faith for so long, and she falls into this ravine, and right before she hits the water, she sees an older version of herself.
Yeah.
Water is growth, water is rebirth, but water's also reflection. Also, every Oshii movie has a scene like that. You remember in Ghost in the Shell, that happens. Also, to have her, after her death, spawn like hundreds of eggs and these little things, the trees that hold the eggs up and suck the life from the ground, as the guy had said. Like, even after she realized it was all bullshit, like that.
I don't know. I didn't get that. I didn't get she realized it's all bullshit part.
Not even she realized, but it falling to her death and into the water, she literally she matured. Like, she came of age. She like turned into a fully grown version of herself.
Yeah.
And that was only after, she had ended up fucking dying for this blind faith in this egg. But yeah, I don't think there's one way to take it, and I could be completely wrong, but seeing her be immortalized, I wasn't like, oh, she was rewarded for her faith. I think it was like, she is used as a symbol for her faith, whether she likes it or not. Like, there's nothing she can help about rippling this like fucking faith in these eggs and like to suck the life out of everything beyond her. Like, no matter, even if she turned away from that faith, like,
do you think
the damage has been done?
Do you think it comes from a perspective of like a jealousy of the ability to maintain their faith?
I don't know.
That she's
I really
rewarded
don't.
with with the comfort and the happiness.
See, I didn't see it as comfort and happiness. I saw it as like despondent. It's just like, oh yeah, they're gonna exalt her, but like for what? She doesn't even want to be exalted. You know what I mean?
But she had hope, which is what
Not right before
all of the people on the ark had lost their hope entirely.
But she had lost her hope at the end. And so she had lost her hope entirely, but still, like, they used her naivete and her hope from before she had matured and before she had lost it and her faith had broken.
It could be like a martyrdom, though.
Yes, martyrdom, but, like, beyond her. Like, and that's the thing that I think when I was saying earlier about, like, my parents were like, yeah, I'd fucking kill you for Christ. And I'd be like, I'd die for Christ. And that air of martyrdom, like, have you ever seen that shit? Like, Christians so fucking badly want to be martyrs in today's day and age. Like,
Jesus
they want
was
to
a
feel
martyr.
oppressed. Yeah.
Well,
but,
yeah,
like,
that's
that makes sense in like fucking
Nietzsche has a perspective on that.
33 AD. Oh yeah, Jarrett. You wanna bring up Nietzsche's perspective on this?
You want to weigh in on the master slave mentality?
I haven't gotten that far.
Oh, I think he says something along the lines of Christians were, or the Israelites or whatever they were an oppressed people, and so they created a system where their being oppressed was a virtue rather than I guess an indignity, and so it's sort of made like, haha, we're actually better than you because we're, and he was, I think, saying that that's a unhealthy mindset.
Yeah, I remember seeing that shit from, and this is going to be way off topic, but you guys remember that story from the Columbine shooting of that girl?
Story?
That
No.
girl Cassie, who was asked by the shooter, like, do you believe in God? And she stood up for her faith and was like, yes, I do, and then was killed. There was a Flyleaf song about it called Cassie.
No.
So you were never taught that. You were never told about that. What about you, Jared?
No.
I was not.
I don't
Okay.
doubt that the question in the shooting happened. I question probably
It didn't.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't doubt that those kids would have said some shit like that.
So it was well, so I always, like, looking back, I was like, oh, they probably said it like tauntingly, like, hey, do you believe in God? Like,
Yeah, that's what I
sorry
was
to
thinking.
put that image out there for anyone. But I it was a national story, like Flyleaf, you know them, Jarrett, right? I don't know about you, Ian,
Yes.
but Fucking love Flyleaf. But they have a song called Cassie about her taking a bullet for God in the Columbine shooting. Like, it was a huge story. But book deals from her parents. They've gone on tour and shit. And I remember being taught that growing up. Like, this is what you should strive to be
she's
like.
a saint.
She's a saint. She's a martyr. One, that's fucked. Like, if you can stay alive, you're more useful to God alive than you are dead. So, like,
not really though, are you? I don't know if
to spread his message to other people. Yeah,
I don't know if God's
you
real.
can't do that shit. Yeah,
Then
well, God's not real, so it doesn't.
yes, but if God
either
is
way,
real, then I think
it's
that's
fucked
like
up. It's fucked up to teach a kid who going to school like when mass shootings are on the rise to be like, hey, somebody comes shooting up the school, run up and tell them how much you love God and let them kill you, so like your parents can get a book deal. 2, it was not Cassie. It was not that girl who said that shit at all. Like, the story has been completely twisted and perverted to where, like, that never fucking happened. There was another girl who was shot who I think, I can't remember it because I might be butchering it too after bitching about it, but there was it was a completely different girl who was even questioned that way, and it was more responsive to what she was doing. It was more like she just naturally had said it out of fear, you know? But they just took what never happened and it ignored the tragedy and ignored everything good, and they were just like, yeah, go be a martyr. So, looking at Angel's Egg with that, I saw it, and I know, and this feeds back into, like, whoever watches it is going to take out what they bring into it. In a way, like, the director been like, I don't even know what the fuck it's about. And I think, was it you or was it Jarrett who had said at the beginning, like, it was one of those that I think you could draw anything from. Was that you, Jarrett? I thought that was you.
I think that was Ian.
yeah, it could have been me. Sounds like some shit I would say.
Yeah, I really thought it was Jarrett. I don't know. I'll figure it out when I go edit this. But but yeah, it's one of those things. Like, I brought in that, so I saw, like, that statue of her at the end. And everything, and all those new eggs, and like those eggs were not good things. Those were eternal sleeping birds. Those little tree structures were sucking the life out of everything. So I saw it all as like she was made to be a martyr, even though she had just gotten to the point to where she had been betrayed by this religion. Not religion, I guess. She had been betrayed by the faith in the egg. She had been betrayed by the person closest to her who had the thing, you know. She had been betrayed by the birds or whatever the fuck it was. Like, there was nothing. Everything that she had known, there was nothing. And she had been doing it eternally. Like, yeah, she has no memory. I think it's eternal. Like, if you look at, she collected a jar of water every day to bring back to those dead skeletons. And you look at that spiral staircase, and it just goes down, like, into darkness. You don't even know how fucking far down that goes. You know how she would collect water and bring it back? Y'all know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Her whole house was just covered in water bottles. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think because it's just so unclear about, like, where, when, or how this film takes place. And I wrote down a quote from the director.
I wonder if
He
you
said-
can. I wonder if you can contextualize that in the idea of, like, the Noah's flood, where she's, like, sort of little by little gathering water, even though it's like a fruitless task in the concept of a world flood, but, like, still, like, it's sort of her faith.
I think, I don't know if it's necessarily about that. I think maybe, I don't know. I thought it was just like bringing, it's just duty is what it was. She was bringing back jars of water to skeletons.
Where the
You know, she lived in one
ark,
of, not
yeah.
in the ark, and there were
Right.
lots of cages and just like giant skeletons of dead
Yeah,
animals,
and
which
she was just stacking them. She wasn't like,
would have come on the, oh shit, did this just die?
no, your camera's still working.
There,
Oh,
no,
the lights.
the light. Yeah, sorry, it just shuts off after a while. But she brings it back to almost like they're dead. They're not going to drink the water anymore, but she's still trying to, you know what I mean?
Maybe so.
And just brings them back. I don't know. I don't know what it means. I don't know what half of the shit means.
Haha,
I think
you're
it's-
mad.
It's okay. It's fine.
That means we need to decide which is the
Yeah.
best.
I do want to read this quote from the director.
Okay.
He does say it's a story made right after the future. I thought that was really interesting. That's where he says the film takes place is right after the future.
Wow.
Mirai of the future.
That's some real pretentious shit.
Yeah, I can't disagree because I just went on a fucking 20-minute rant about religion. So
No, you're doing fantastic.
thanks, babe. All
right.
Sorry, we should probably wrap it up. I'm sorry.
No, you're okay.
It's late.
We need to figure out which movie will proceed. Wait, what movie will it be battling? Whichever movie wins.
We don't know yet because
That'll be the next.
Paprika has a first round bye, so Paprika will go up against Mirai, and so whatever we choose next, I think it's like Wolf Children and Tokyo Godfather. So whatever wins out of those two is going to be our next episode.
Okay. My vote is for Spirited Away. I think the Spirited Away was
Shocker!
more of a realized vision, a lot more fun. I think it was very well executed. It's a yeah, I can't think of many. There are flaws. It has its flaws, but I can't think of very many. And I can't see anyone coming out of it being like, that was okay. I think it's a all-around great film. Whereas Angel's Egg is a dramatic experience to have, and I think a noble piece of art, but not didn't leave as much with me enjoyment, or I don't know. It wasn't enough on the table for me. Take it over.
Gotcha.
Take it over. Spirited Away.
Yeah. What about you, Jarrett?
I am also gonna vote for Spirited Away. They're
Nice.
both really great movies. But I dread the thought of having to watch Angels.
See, here's the thing: you don't have to watch them again. Like we'll have watched all of them
Yeah, but
before.
depending
I
on the
mean, I would
time frame
encourage
of
it.
that- Yeah, dude.
I would
Especially-
encourage watching it again, but
Yeah.
Don't watch it.
It'll depend.
don't
on
have
how,
to.
It'll depend on the time disparity. I would
Like,
also
do you
like
have
to-
if it ended up going up against Mirai? Would you have to watch both of those movies again to know?
No.
which
No,
one to
I have
pick?
my answer right now.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you don't have to watch all of them again.
No, I know. It was mostly joking.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it's sort of the same reasoning as earlier. Like both movies a lot. I respect Angel's Egg a lot.
Yeah.
But I think Spirited Away works more. It's more accessible. It's I somewhat agree with Ian. It's more realized. I don't know. I don't think that's necessarily a flaw, but for Angel's Egg, that it's not as realized. But I think for the purposes of this bracket, I prefer Spirited Away. And I would also like to apologize for the last like 25 minutes. I just got super fucking tired. I totally
Yeah, it is like almost 2 a.m. So
Oh, you're okay. I totally fell asleep like 3 times. So
We have to get a
My bad.
close
I
up.
was-
We
I
have
was
to get a
sitting here-
close up on his camera.
you'll see
just-
it. You'll see it on the footage. You'll see it on the footage.
I was here bearing my soul about childhood trauma and religious
Dude,
abuse,
I know.
and you were just like,
Dude, I was trying to stay awake so hard.
no,
I
no, no,
kept
it's
changing.
totally fine. You were fucking there with me through half of that shit, so it's all good.
Yeah. But yes, Spirited Away is my vote as well.
All right. Well, I guess just to keep things continuous, I guess I'll fucking vote, but
You have to vote. You literally have to vote.
I want to vote for Angel's Egg. I do.
You can vote
for Angel's Egg, dude.
I know I can vote for Angel's Egg, but like I just feel so weird not voting for Spirited Away, not because of pressures, but because it is so fucking good.
It is.
You know what?
is.
I'm going to make that explicitly clear. I fucking love Spirited Away, and I'll probably give it another shake, and it'll probably win next round as well. But I think, personally, from how it affected me, and also because I know it's not going to change the outcome, Spirited Away will win no matter what, and I'm okay with that, and I actually kind of want that. But just because I could vote for this, and it has no effect, I'm going to give a vote to Angel's Egg. So that'll go on
Very
my
noble.
personal bracket. I can't
The
fucking
crowd
on my
goes
personal
wild.
bracket, Spirited Away is out first round.
Out first round.
But on the
Okay,
official
are we-
bracket, but I do want everyone to do their personal bracket because it'll determine which one of us is the alpha male in the friend group. Whoever has the closest anime bracket to the big anime bracket will determine the chat of the group.
Bro, I'll just
I can't
I'll
even
just
be
I'll just
serious,
pick
I'll
the
say that.
exact same ones, my guy.
You won't know, dude. I'm never letting you pick last.
Ugh.
All right. Anybody wanna lead us out in prayer? Or
We know
just
who's got to
give the
lead us
outro.
out, man. He's
I've
0 for 2 as of now. So
0
we'll
for
give him another
2.
shot. Yeah.
All right, Ian. You wanna take us to the chorus or the outro? Shit.
Dirty day.
Thank you. Give me a little tune to go with it. Yeah, thank you.
Don't.
You've been
Just
listening.
give us.
You've been listening to the Howls and the Moving Cheeks Cat podcast. We've had some laughs. We've had some tears. We've had some memories. Talked a little about high school. Talked a little about God. And I think to close it all out, all I can say is bonjour.
Hey, that was
Scotty.
perfect.
Hey, Scotty.
Jesus, man.
Jesus, man. Yeah. No, that was perfect, Ian.
Thanks.
Once again, we're gonna plug Spaghetti and Meat Boys. If there are socials up, follow them. If you like it, like this. If not, do whatever the fuck you want, man. We'll see you next time, and thanks for listening.
Link in the
Bonjour.
description. Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Hair.